Good evening. Thank, thank you for joining us here this evening. This regular meeting of the Judson Board of Trustees is hereby called to order. I will call to make sure that we have the quorum, and we'll call attendance. Mr. Flores.
President, thank you all for being here.
Mr. Salier.
Thank you for coming.
Mr. Macias.
Present.
Now, Mr. Arnoldo Salinas, I'm your board president. Dr. Mackey.
President, and we have Mr. Elizondo, our Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Lane Howard, Executive Director, Human Resource. We have Daniel Kirshner, Executive Director of Operation, Elita Bear, Assistant Superintendent of Secondary School, and Nancy Robinson, Associate Superintendent of Curriculum Instruction, and Willis Mackey, Superintendent of Schools.
We have established a quorum. A couple of the board members will be absent this evening, and one is running a little late. I am pleased that you have taken time to join us this evening. As the Judson Board of Trustees, we are here to set goals and policies and oversee the management of the district. We are responsible for approving budgets, contracts, personnel appointments, and to listen to reports from the superintendent. We are not here to make administrative or management decisions pertaining to the daily operation of the district. This is the responsibility of the superintendent. In compliance with the state government code on open meetings, tonight's agenda has been appropriately posted. This is a meeting in public, not a meeting of the public. As our guests, you are welcome to observe and listen. These proceedings are being video and audio recorded and will become part of Judson's permanent legal record. In order that the tape adequately reflect these proceedings, please silence your mobile phones and refrain from talking while others are speaking. Since it is legally mandated that these proceedings are recorded accurately, I might have to ask for order periodically should I notice that disruptions are interfering with our recording capabilities. Once again, we extend to each of you a sincere welcome. Thank you for your interest in the Judson School Board meeting. We will have the invocation by Dr. Mackey, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance and the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Father, once again, we want to thank you for giving us an opportunity to hold our board meeting here at Judson ISD. We want to thank you for all the many blessings that you have bestowed upon us. Lord, I know we're not worthy at times, but please forgive us of our mistakes and things that we've done. But Lord, continue to bless us and move forward with our district. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I'd like to introduce to you our pledge leader for tonight. It is Heaven Blanco. Heaven, come on up. She's a student at Millers Point Elementary. She has maintained an all-A honor roll status for as long as she has been enrolled there at Millers Point. Heaven is an outstanding speaker and leads the campus in morning announcements. She has participated in one essay contest at the campus level and is an exceptional artist. Heaven is a member of the school's robotics club and is interested in joining the STEM program next year at Judson Middle School. Let's join Heaven in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. and Texas flags.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
You may be seated. Let's give Heaven a nice job, a hand for a nice job. I'd also like to recognize her parents who are in the audience, Victor Blanco and Danielle Benavides. All right, let's give Heaven another hand for a nice job. We'd also like to recognize our color guard for tonight coming from Judson High School Junior ROTC, including Cadet Colonel Kyle Rodriguez, Cadet Captain Danielle Dominguez, Cadet First Lieutenant Corey Cecil, and Cadet First Lieutenant Brandon Horton. Very nice job, gentlemen. They are under the instruction of Master Sergeant Timothy Netters. All right, our first board recognition comes from Crestview Elementary School. Now, as many of you may know, we are in the middle of establishing a new STEM program, but that new program needed what is called branding, or in this case, a logo. The decision was made to involve our students in a logo contest, and it was opened up to all fifth grade students in our district. Each campus had their own local contest, and the winner advanced to the district level. A total of 16 campus winners competed, and only one was chosen to represent the new STEM Academy. The winner was Crestview fifth grader Vianney Cano. Vianney, come on up. Her teachers are also here: Carlos Gutierrez, Jose Rivera, Principal Dr. Nancy Gerhardt, and I believe that is it, at least from here, from the school. The district STEM logo winner was awarded a first place ribbon and iPad donated by Clearly Zimmerman Engineers. That is Mr. Trey McDougall. If he could come up here just for a moment so he can present the iPad to her with the board members there, if you would. Very nice. And if the parents, I believe, are here too, could you just stand up just for a moment as well? Vianney? Thank you very much for being here. Next on our recognitions comes from both Judson High School and Wagner High Schools. The All-State Music Awards organized by the Texas Music Educators Association starts off with some 60,000 students across the state. Through auditions, that number is trimmed down through the district and regional levels, and finally the state. 860 are chosen for the All-State Concert and Jazz Bands, 220 for orchestra, and 500 for the choir. And we are proud to introduce to you those outstanding musicians that made those all-state ensembles. First of all, from Judson High School, a senior clarinet player who is a 3-time TMEA all-state musician and also plays in the Youth Orchestra of San Antonio, Sarah Seagraves. Sarah is the daughter of James and Jaime Seagraves. Our next recognition is a senior trumpet player who plays lead trumpet in the Judson Jazz Band and has composed music that's been performed in UIL competition. Michael Lehman. Michael is the son of Tracy and Julie Lehman. Our next state musician is a senior euphonium player who plays trombone in the Judson Jazz Band and is the baritone section leader, Tristan Anderson. Tristan is the son of Craig and Jeanette Anderson. Our next honored musician is a senior tenor saxophone player who is also a part of the Judson Jazz Band. He is also one of the drum majors for the marching band, Josue Moreno. Josue is the son of Frank and Alma Moreno. Now we move on to Judson High School All-State Choir members. This student is a junior soprano 2 singer. She is a 2-time All-Stater and is also a student director. Ilemel Nueves Perez. She is the daughter of Eli and Melanie Nueves Perez. Next is a senior soprano 1 singer. Not only is she a top quality all-state choir member, but she is also a top-notch actress qualifying for state theater competition. Brianna Pitts. Is she here this evening? Okay, I guess she wasn't able to make it this evening. Our final Judson All-State Choir member is a senior bass 2 singer, along with qualifying for area and region choir the last 3 years. He is also a 2013-2014 National Merit finalist, Timothy Moreland. Is Timothy here? And is Mauricio, is he here as well? Okay, all right. From Wagner High School, this student is a senior string bass player. He's the first orchestra student in 14 years to be named to the All-State Strings in the Judson ISD, Mauricio Torres. Mauricio is the son of Alberto and Marcela Marino. And our final All-State musician is a first for the Judson ISD ever. This young man is a senior tuba player. He has made the All-State band all 4 years of his high school eligibility. That's the first time. That's the first time that's ever happened in Judson ISD history. And to give you an idea, approximately only 2% of musicians make an all-state ensemble all 4 high school years. Frank John. Frank is the son of Lisa and Jimmy John. We're going to get a group picture here. And while they're doing that, I would just like to ask all the parents of these students, if you're here, please stand up. All right. It also takes a lot of dedication, work, and talent to win a state title, whatever it happens to be. And we want to recognize 3 girls on the Wagner wrestling team who qualified for the state tournament. First of all, Bridget Trejo. She came back from an injury last season and came back in a big way this year and did very well at the state tournament. Scarlett Friaga. The wrestling season has been a tough one for her. As you can see, she still has an arm in a sling here, being injured on and off throughout the year, yet she qualified for the state tournament. And then there is Julie Mata. As a junior, she not only qualified for the state with a 39-1 record, but she went through the state tournament and outclassed her opponents without being taken down once, and won the state title in her classification 4-1, bringing a state championship to Wagner and Judson ISD. We congratulate all these girls. And for the parents of these girls that are on the wrestling team, Isaac and Julie Pacheco, Sylvia Friaga, and is Julie Mata's parents here as well? If y'all could all stand up, please. All right, those are the board recognitions for this evening. Thank you very much. Thank you all very much.
Do we have any elected officials? Thank you. We will now go into item 4, consideration of consent items. Board members, I will be reading each item. If you want to pull the item, please let me know. A, consider and take action regarding approval of board minutes for the regular board meetings held on December the 19th, 2013, and January 16th, 2014. B, consider and take action regarding approval of minutes for the special meeting held on January 21st and February 11th, 2014. Consider C, consider and take action regarding approval of monthly financial information as of January 31st, 2014. D, consider and take action regarding approval of the budget transfers across functions. E, consider and take action regarding approval of request for proposal 1413 for internet access service. F, consider and take action regarding approval of request for proposals 14-14 for an employee engagement survey and a related budget amendment to the general operating fund. Poll F. Yes, sir. G, consider and take action regarding approval of for a test and balance engineering services for Copperfield Elementary School. H, consider and take action regarding approval of construction procurement method for portable relocation. I, consider and take action regarding approval of a proclamation declaring February Career and Technical Education Month. I think we have to pull that one. Yeah, we need to read that. Mr. Sellier will be reading that in a minute. Consider and take action regarding approval of the 2014-2015 instructional calendar. And I'm going to pull that one. K, consider and take action regarding approval of the official district instructional materials committee member. Do I have a motion? Motion by Mr. Flores, second by Mr. Sellier. Discussion. Okay, no discussion. All those in favor of the motion signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. Okay, the first one that F. Consider and take action regarding approval of request for proposal 1414 for an employee engagement survey and a related budget amendment to the general operating fund. Mr. Macias.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas.
Motion by Mr. Sellier,
Second.
second by Mr. Macias. Thank you.
Well, I may request that we might withdraw those. My questions, I did speak with Beth early this morning, and I thought she had wanted to pull this item for future agenda item. I'm not sure if she relayed that to you.
Yes, she did.
So do we want to pull that, or do we want to move forward with it?
Well, I would pull that one. We have 3 board members missing. We can do it. As a matter of fact, I probably will be calling for a special board meeting in the next 2 weeks. After tonight, we'll decide what dates might be available.
Well, I mean, are you okay with that, Mr. Sellier? Pulling
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, why are we pulling it?
we have a quorum.
We have a quorum that's on
You know,
there.
you get business done, whoever's here, and we've got a quorum, we've got to do business. I mean, we have a special meeting. We're just going to have more things at the special meeting.
Well, it was just a request, and again, I was hopeful that Beth may have relayed this to our board president, but
Yes, you did.
and so it was. I think it was her desire, since it was her item, to table it. I mean, I'm okay with moving forward with it as well, but just again, trying to pay respect to her wishes. So I don't know what you want to do, Arnold.
I'm hearing that we should go ahead and
It's on the
proceed with
agenda.
the discussion.
Okay. Well, then I'll go ahead and we'll proceed
Okay,
since there's
sir.
been a motion and a second on the floor. My question is to administration. Can I address, I guess, Mr. Elizondo or Mr. Howard? I don't know who is responsible for the survey. Well, in terms of the 5 years, I think that the language with the agenda item had a 5-year contract. I just wanted to understand that a little more because we're looking obviously at a much more increased
Okay, I can
price?
answer that. It's it could be 1 year for the engagement study, or it could be 5 years, and we can evaluate it over a 5-year period, one year at a time.
Okay.
That's, you know, that's all to it.
Yeah, and I'm thinking 5 years might be a little too lengthy, maybe 3 years. I don't know where the 5 years came from.
Dr.
And
Mack,
so-
can I just make a comment? What, if y'all approve this item, what will happen is that we'll sign an agreement for 1 year first with the company to come in and do a 1 year agreement, because that's all you're really budgeting for is 1 year, $15,000. After that, it will have to be provided for in the budget, $8,500, and then if the board approves it, you know, in every budget thereafter, every time that they approve it, then we'll issue another renewal for another year. So we're not going to issue a 5-year contract up front. It'll just be a 1 year contract, and we're able to renew it for 4 additional years.
Okay. Well, and I was just fearful that somewhere in the language it was a 5-year commitment that we were tying ourselves
So
to.
if you're not satisfied with the way the first year comes out and you don't want to do it anymore, or, you know, the second, third year you say that's enough, then we can stop it at that point.
Okay. I'll yield my comments for right now.
Thank you. The way I look at this is, if we're going to get a 1 year at $15,000, they come in and they'll look and take the survey, and then I think based on that survey, we need to see how we can address it, you know, to make the changes that need to be made, or to, you know, and then maybe not the next year do it, but the year after that. I mean, you got to give us time to try to fix, have the administration or the board, whoever, fix what's going on. Now, would that be, I guess my question to Mr. Elizondo is, if we don't do it that second year, does it go back to 15,000 the third year?
Mr. Ashmore,
Yeah.
please, you wanna-
The truth is, that's something we would have to negotiate with the vendor.
Okay.
We don't have a firm answer for you for that.
Okay.
It's-
Well, see, that's the way I look at this thing, you know. If we want a survey done, get it done, and then we get the results, and we have to see what we can do to fix, or what can be fixed quickly.
Right. And it probably
uh,
wouldn't be as expensive if it's not 8,500. It probably wouldn't be as expensive because they'll already have the tool developed and they're going to just reissue. As long as we don't change it, we let them do the same thing over.
Yeah.
Then it probably would be as expensive if they were to change it.
Okay.
Mr. Sally?
My question is, I mean, this is just going out for the bidding. I mean, who approves the survey before it goes out?
Typically what will happen is that this is a little bit different because typically the administration is the one who's asking for the survey to be done. So we would review it with Dr. Mackey and we would approve it. Because this particular survey was a request of the board, we would try to develop the questions, provide them to Dr. Mackey, and then he could provide them to the board for input in case there was anything that was lacking in the questions, that we could get feedback from the board to make sure that those questions were being, we request those questions to be part of the survey.
That sounds good.
And this is the one where we ask the questions about the board too, right? Yeah, that's what was passed,
I'm going to make a comment.
Well,
Okay.
we have
that
to
is the
rate
one.
board.
right? I want to make sure
We're
that
rating the board.
we're rating the board by the employees, right? That's what's in it.
I think that in the language there was an inclusion for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
in this request.
Okay.
On the same item, sir, as far as rating the board, since we're going to get the questions the survey first, I did meet with legal, sir, and I will have to meet with the board on executive session from the next time concerning that same thing that you requested, sir. Okay? It cannot be discussed in public, but I'll discuss it behind closed doors concerning rating of the board.
Well, then we need to table this or vote no on it and bring it back then.
On that part.
No, this is for, I mean,
I
Put it out
yeah,
there.
but no, this is to accept the bid,
right, but,
okay? Once they accept the bid, then the survey will be made, and then we can decide.
but you're saying there's a problem with it.
Not the survey for the employees, it's rating of the board.
Well, that's part of the amendment. That's part of this.
I understand that,
I
sir.
know, yeah, but well, I don't feel comfortable voting on for something that's going to come back and say we can't do it.
The survey we can do. The rating of the board is the question.
Well, then that's what was, if we can't do that, it's a whole different ballgame, because that's what we voted on to include.
Mr. Flores?
The thing about it is, the board asked for this survey because of morale. The person that brought it up says morale is low, we need to see what's going on. Now, the reason we asked to see, or we wanted the board members, just a ranking, was because it stems from the top. If we see the problem coming down from the top, what are you going to stop at a certain level and say, no, we're not going to rate, we're not going to take a survey on everything? That's why we asked for that thing, because it stems from us as a board, as the leadership of this district. And if, we're having problems with it, we need to know that. If the employees feel that, hey, some people, and we're not asking them to say what people are doing wrong, we're asking them to rate the board. And we're able to find out that way, and just to see what's what, because we got we've got a problem up here. Yeah, we can all look and say, oh yeah, okay, so and so's not doing something, but it's not going to be individual, but it will be a rating.
Yeah, but he requested a rating of each board member.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I don't have a problem. I'm
Yeah.
just telling you what legal.
Well.
You know what? I will vote for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the survey is made, then I don't know. At that time we can decide.
There's too much wiggle for me.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Macias?
So I just want to make sure I'm clear. If we accept this, that we can
ranking.
evaluate the necessity for doing one next year, or consider possibly doing it every other year, and we're not tied to anything. It's just a one-year contract for this independent survey.
That's correct.
Okay. And then just to give my opinion on this, I'm not afraid of any rankings, but I do realize that as board members we don't manage day-to-day activities. So if we were to get a negative rating, so what, do we resign? I really just see the minimal impact in terms of what the opinion is. We are the top, yes. We set the vision and the strategy, but we don't manage their employees. So if there's dissatisfaction, usually, again, like I said the first time we talked about this, we're voted in and we're voted out of office based on that satisfaction. That is the ultimate measure of our ratings. So this assessment aspect of it, I think, is really unnecessary. I'll vote for it, too, because I want the survey done, and so be it. But I just don't see the benefit of having to figure out where we rank and why it's going to be important to boost morale. Because at the end of the day, our accountability is the polls. And so if morale is bad in the community, then we're out of office. So that's how it's supposed to work. But let's not get hung up on that. But I just wanted to, of course, get my opinion on this. And, we'll deal with it.
All right, and I don't want to beat it either, but, we're saying that the morale is bad. People up here on this board, I know not, who brought this up, they said they want a survey to find out what's wrong with morale, And now what I'm saying by having them rate the board members, no, they can't make you resign or anything, but board members can have a feeling that they're doing something right, that they're doing what they feel is they need to do. And this could be an indication of them saying, hey, it's not looked upon that way by the employees. It's not the voters out here, because the voters are not, all the employees are not voters in this district. And we talked about that before, about, we can get voted out. But that's not what this is about. This survey is to find out what's wrong with morale. And if there's something up here going on, if somebody says, Mr. Flores is micromanaging or something, and I get a 2 rating out of a 5 or whatever, it's, I've got to look at myself and see, okay, what's going on? What am I doing wrong? And that's what it's about. And that's where I'm taking it. It can't make you resign. But I think it's only fair, and the employees will be able to say, because, not only is our actions that we take up here and everything, because, we do some things that are embarrassing to to the district, it's bad for morale, you know. I mean, they have that feeling like, you know. So it's stuff like that. And it's not specific. It's just basically how they feel. And then we get the opportunity to check ourselves. You know, that's what it's about. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, I'm sorry. Let the record reflect that Miss Adair has joined us. Mr. Macias.
Yeah, thank you, Gilbert. Just to recap for June, we're talking about the survey and the merit of having our the board members surveyed, are evaluated in the survey. So that's what we're discussing right now. And of course, the contract, you weren't here, but apparently we're on a 1-year contract, not a 5-year. It's renewable, and the board will approve that renewal annually moving forward, right?
Not the actual renewal, they'll approve the budget, and if you approve the budget, then we'll go ahead and go forward with the renewal.
Okay, so if we approve the budget for it, then we can renew it. But again, we're not contract, or we're not linked to it. Okay.
And also that we would be provided a copy of the survey before it goes out, Ms. Adair.
Yep, they would do that, and we get the questions. I guess I had one more point. It's escaped me, but I'm fine. But thank you. That was a good response.
Any other discussion? Okay, we're ready to vote? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Okay, let me finish this and we'll get back over there. Item I. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of proclamation declaring February Career and Technical Education Month. Motion by Mr. Flores. Second by Mr. Selly. Mr. Selly.
Proclamation Judson ISD Board of Trustees. Whereas February 1st, 2014, designated Career and Technology Education Month by the Association for Career and Technical Education, and whereas profound economic and technological changes in our society are rapidly reflected in the structure and nature of work, thereby placing new and additional responsibility on our educational system. And whereas career and technological education provides Americans with a school-to-careers connection and is the backbone of a strong, well-educated workforce which fosters productivity in business and industry and contributes to the America's leadership of international marketplace. And whereas career and technical education gives high school students experience in practical, meaningful applications of basic skills such as reading, writing, and mathematics, thus improving the quality of their education, motivating potential dropouts, and giving all students leadership opportunities in their fields and in their community. And whereas career and technical education offers individuals lifelong opportunities to learn new skills which provide them with career choices and potential satisfaction. And whereas the ever-increasing cooperation efforts of career and technical educators, business, and industry stimulate the growth and vitality of our local economy, and that the entire nation, by preparing graduates for career fields, forecast to experience the largest and fastest growth in the next decade. Now, therefore, I, Arnold Salinas, School Board President of Judson ISD, do hereby proclaim February 1st through 28th, 2014 as Career and Technical Education Month in Judson Independent School District, and urge all citizens to be familiar with the services and benefits Judson ISD offers for career and technical education programs in this community, and to support and participate in these programs to enhance their individual work, skills, and productivity. In testimony thereof, I hitherunto my hand and cause by fixation of the Great Seal of Judson ISD this 20th day of February 2014. So
Thank you very much. Although, okay. All those in, oh, go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to say thank you to Ms. Lafreniere for her leadership. Our career and technical program has increased, and Ms. Barra for her supervisory leadership. But I'm really excited that we are giving our students the opportunity to have a career. The proclamation doesn't even begin to tell all of the things that we've added to our program and how our kids finish here and walk into a sustainable paying job. And so, Dr. Mackey, I just want to thank your department for doing that and realizing that not all kids are going to go to college and get a four-year degree, but we are yet preparing them.
Thank you. Okay, we're ready to vote on the motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. J, consider and take action regarding approval of the 2014-2015 instructional calendar. Motion by Mr. Salyer, second by Mr. Flores. I had pulled this item. If you go to page 69, you will find the new proposed 2014-2015 school calendar. And we're going to be discussing an amendment to the 2013-2014 school calendar. And this is concerning the makeup day on Memorial Day. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you one thing. I'm not the type of board member that gets phone calls or emails. But let me tell you, I heard it this time. How dare the board decided to make Memorial Day a makeup day. But I did respond and said, wait a minute. The employees voted for the calendar. We just approved what the employees wanted. It was the choice of the employees. So now if you look at the new one, you will notice that they are recommending that Memorial Day for next year would be the first makeup day in case of a bad weather day. Is that correct, Dr. Mackey? I believe that's okay. So, board members, I'll open it for discussion.
Excuse me, Mr. Salinas. This item, I think, is number D. It's later in the agenda. I don't know if you want to
Yes, it's later on
address
the
it there.
agenda. What I was going to, after we do this, go to the other one.
Okay.
Might as well discuss the calendar.
Just clarifying. Thank you.
Okay. Discussion. Yes, sir.
Mr. President, back in 1998, 2008, we did makeup on Memorial Day, and that was because we had Battle of the Flowers. 2008.
Yeah, not
2008, we did. But that was because it wasn't on there. It was the Battle of the Flowers Day that was the makeup day. But a number of people came up and they started complaining. And so the board, after the vote was by the staff, the board changed it to Memorial Day, and we took the first Memorial Day. But they did not vote for that one. They voted to have it on the Battle of the Flowers. So there was, because the reason they board voted on that is because on the Battle of Flowers Day, a lot of personnel buy their tickets a year ahead of time to go to the Battle of the Flowers, and a lot of staff go to the Battle of the Flowers, and we have our bands and different organizations participate in the Battle of the Flowers. So that's why that was done back in 2008, and because of the bad weather days, this is the first time we've experienced that since 2008 and 2014. So that's just kind of a little history of what transpired. And I know Mr. Salinas and I have been visiting about this, that Mr. Salinas, we talked about making the Battle of the Flowers a makeup day for half day. This year and next year too, right?
Right.
Yeah, this year and next year, because that means elementary would get out early and high school would get out around 1 o'clock, because I think the Battle of the Flowers doesn't start till 12 o'clock, and that would help us if we did something like that. So that would work for us.
Mr. Selly.
Yes. Being a veteran, I don't want makeup day on Memorial Day.
That's why, as president of the board, I heard about it too. Okay. Mr. Flores.
Well, as a veteran also, I tell you, I know my wife worked in this district for a number of years, and there were a few years that it was just a regular work day, Memorial Day. You know, there was a few years in there because I remember where I was working at the time, I was off, and I said, hey, how come you're not off? She goes, well, they got school. This is before you got here, you know. So, you know, I understand Memorial Day, you know, to a lot of people, and it is, you know, it's a solemn holiday. So I'm saying, well, you know, you're getting off because of whatever weather day it was, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. Why don't we make it up on a Saturday sometime? You know, I mean, you got off. You know, I mean, hey, it's, you know, because people are not going to come on, you know, you can make it Battle of Flowers days all you want. Your absenteeism is going to be 50 or more, 50% or more. You know, it's going to happen because people go to these parades. The band's not going to be here if they're marching, you know, so right there.
They'll be counted as present.
Well, I understand that, but there will be more absences. You will have more than 50% of your students absent. That's just the way it's going to be. But, you know, so I'll go along with however you all decide, but I'm just telling you this option.
Yes,
Thank you.
Miss Adair.
I said, considering you don't have to come to work. I don't think I want to do this Saturday. I was watching their faces. We'll be mobbed. But they already worried about the survey. Dr. Mackey, how difficult is it to add a day at the end of the calendar?
Good. I will definitely. I have to press my button. Let me see.
Well, I had some calls, and they were like, you know, you were in the military. I can't believe you agreed to this. And Memorial Day is one of the big holidays because, you know, it's honoring the people that lost their lives. So it's more than just the regular one. And but I have to say, Dr. Mackey, you're absolutely correct. When you tried to do it on Battle of Flowers before, there was an outrage. And so if you think that the half a day will be sufficient, then I'm fine with that. But let's not schedule the makeup day for next year on that. Yeah, just do it this year, the half a day, and let's make the calendar right for next year. Not schedule Memorial Day, not schedule.
But it's there.
Well, we can fix it right now. We haven't voted on it.
Oh. Yes. Yes, sir. Oh.
Can we do this like, let's put an extra day in the beginning of the year, you know, like the week of Thanksgiving. We got all week off. Take one of those days and say, and well, I understand that, but if we don't have that, hey, if we don't have the time off, we don't have a day that's freezing, then cut it a day short at the end. You know what I'm saying? Is that possible? So you get your instructional days in, and if you don't have to have a makeup, you know, it's...
You ready? Okay. Let me also tell you, sir, that I'm a former veteran and proud to say that I did serve this country in Vietnam. So definitely I am for 31st. On the 31st, sir, like I said, normally my phone is pretty quiet on my email, but I did. Here's what we looked at. And by the way, Dr. Mack, I took 2-3 hours out of Dr. Mackey's time, and I think Jose and we got Joe involved. So we said, my big thing was that, hey, no big deal. Let's do it on the 9th. Well, not realizing that by doing it on the 9th, that would create a lot of problems, not for the teachers or the students, the employees that have to come back because they were going to work that day anyway. It's a work day for them, okay? All the clerical, custodians, and everything. So then we came back and we talked about it. I said, wait a minute, how about half a day on the 25th? And Dr. Mackey explained, well, you know, a lot of the employees buy tickets. I said, well, they have between now and April to ask for a half a day if they need to take half a day personal business. He said, you know, that's right. He said it would be okay, no problem. So that's why we felt that half a day. Oh, but wait a minute, I'm out of order. I'm sorry, because that's on the item that I'm going to discuss next. But for next year, I don't want it to be Memorial Day, the makeup day, because our employees, if you notice here, we had 1,008 employees voted on option 1, 218 option 2, and 125. So we're stuck with option 1. So, no. Well, according to the employees, that's what they want. Yeah? Oh, yes. Total of votes was 1,660 for option 1. Is that correct? Yes. Okay. I understand that. Yeah, they voted for it last year too. But right, it's not the teachers either. So that we've got to decide what are we going to leave it like that and see what happens when we go into this year half a day. Leave it the way it is. Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Sutter.
We're kind of into this. I think the only way we can do is a half day on the, Battle Flowers, and then next year, 2015, we just make it so that the makeup day is the end of the year, last an extra day at the end of the year if we need it. Because you're not going to make, there's people going to do Memorial Day weekend stuff, and there's people that's going to do Battle Flowers stuff. We're into this year, do a half day on Battle Flowers, get everybody off at noon or whatever we can do. But having makeup day on Memorial Day, I'm going to tell you, it's just not going to work. Not going to work.
Do the instructional day in November, and then you have that one day that you built in, and if you don't use it, then you end the day early at the end of the year.
But you said you're saying in November, you're not saying for the kids to come in.
Well, yeah, on the 20.
And you want to take off one day out of that week? Believe me, sir, I think the absences will be there. That won't work. No, wait a minute. It's no problem, like I said, for the teachers or the students. It's a problem for the rest of the employees. And they can explain, Jose can explain to you, or Ms. Howard.
But June the 4th right now on the calendar is not a day off.
That's not a day off.
We're supposed to come work that day. Kids are supposed to be here. Teachers are supposed to be here.
The only way you can do is give a half day off.
Which option is that? Which calendar is that? Option at the bottom, 3? Well, that's if the employees had selected that, but they selected option 1. It does, but not June the 4th.
I was going to go over the calendar. And then, okay.
No.
Option 1 has
Okay, 74? 74?
73.
73?
That's the one y'all want to approve about.
That's the recommendation.
Option 1.
73.
73. Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am.
I move to amend the motion of the calendar, motion starting on the floor, right? We have a motion? Okay. I move to amend the motion to eliminate May the 25th as bad weather makeup day and only have June 8th.
For 2014. 2014.
2015.
15.
2014 to 2015. So that's the item we're on. We're on item
Right.
J.
But wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Why are you saying June the 8th? No.
No.
73 is option 1.
But by law, you have to have two makeup days.
By law, we have to have two. We have one on June 9th.
Are you talking about June the 9th for 2014?
Okay, we need to make sure we're in what year?
You
Are we
can't-
in June 2015? 14, 15, right. I got her up here.
If y'all want to, y'all can do June 8th and June 9th.
June 8th and 9th is the makeup,
And so correct my motion, June the 8th and June the 9th.
for makeup days.
Okay. Okay, it's in there.
Well, we just want to be real clear, okay? June the 8th, and June the 8th is being requested as one of the makeup days, the second one, which we hope we don't have to go to, okay? But the problem with, if we have to go to the June the 8th or June the 9th, is that there are already a lot of employees that work on those days, okay? So they're not going to be makeup days. So if they're, and kind of, if I can explain this easily, they're already being paid to work those days. So if they lose the day somewhere else, and they're going to be paid, you're going to make them work. They're not really making up the day, in other words, because they're already getting paid to work that day anyway, and so you're going to give them a free day, if you will, because they're going to get paid already for the day that they missed, and you're going to supposedly have them make up the day on that day, and they can't because they're already getting paid for that day. They would have to come to work on a Saturday or another day that is not a day that they're supposed to work on.
I don't have a problem with it unless it's breaking the law. I mean, there are millions of companies that give their people pay on that bad weather day. So if we make up the day, and it's already their contract, is it against the law for us to do that?
What would have to happen, under my understanding, is that we would exactly, we have to bring a resolution saying that
We're
education.
gonna have to make that proclamation. Do y'all have a problem with us giving them that day yet?
I don't. I mean, it's the only fix is how many times you're going to use these.
We might not have.
Once every 5 years.
We might not,
Okay.
it might not be next.
So to keep everybody happy, I mean, make them the 8th and the 9th, and if we have to do a proclamation, we'll do a proclamation for makeup day. Okay?
So,
I don't think so, Mr. Flores, because, the next calendar, this agenda will have it all figured out and we'll have a good proposal.
Yes, ma'am. We're going to work on two money season before Thanksgiving. And we saw all the
no. You might solve it, not the employees, I guarantee you. They make plans for that.
The problem with that, you have a shutdown, a startup, and a shutdown, right, Mr. Kirsch? You come 2 days, well, it costs money. I mean, it costs money to shut the schools down and fire them back up over a weekend. So you'd have a 2-day, right, Matt? You have a 2-day startup shutdown. That costs energy. That costs money. It costs a lot of money to run school just 2 days. If you do it during Thanksgiving, you bring them 2 days when the week off that Thanksgiving. There's a cost. There's a cost of coming in on Monday morning, firing everything up, and shutting it down on Tuesday.
It's the same cost.
It's the
because
same
if you
cost
look
as
at
the 8th.
calendar,
No, it's
we're gonna
not,
bring them in for 2 days on the 8th and the 9th.
which we probably won't do.
But you don't know.
But you don't know that.
Right.
But you know if you bring them on those 2, there's going to be a cost.
Yeah, well, I'm used to only get 3 days Thanksgiving.
I'm used to getting 2 days.
It's not
So,
a big deal to me.
the thing is, you know, if you don't need it, if you came in on that Monday and you don't need it, then you let out a day early, because you're getting the instructional days in.
I think you'd have I think you get more phone calls on that and anything than Memorial
You get
Day.
more phone calls no matter what.
No, wait a minute, what? We
I
were
just-
talking about June the,
8th
we
and
settled
9th.
on June the 8th and 9th. What
Let's
happened?
vote. That's the motion.
Oh, okay, we have a motion on the floor. Are we ready to vote? Vote on the amendment first. All those in favor of the amendment to the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, likewise. Now we vote on the motion with the amendment. Is that correct? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. Thank you. Now we move on to. Yes. Oh. Well, since we were doing the calendar, I was going to. Okay. Discussion and consideration of action items. At this time, I'd like to move to item D. Consider and take possible action regarding approval of revisions to the 2013-2014 instructional calendar day. Do I have a motion? Motion, and I'll second it. No. Right. Oh, okay. Instead of Memorial.
Instead of Memorial.
14 what? Oh, okay. Okay. No discussion? We got a motion and a second? Okay, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm going to allow one of our speakers that had signed up, and we made a mistake not picking up the information. This is Mr. J. Treese, Eck Science. Mr. Treese.
Thank you very much. As you know, I can go on and on, so I did put it on paper to stay within the 3 minutes. First of all, I'd like to thank you for letting me speak this evening. And second, I would like to say thank you to the district for the blessings, the love, the prayers, and the warmth that you have shown my family during the time of our loss of our mother. My father, I know, deeply appreciates your kindness. She really loved the district and gave 23 years of teaching for the district, plus many years of sub-administrative jobs thereafter. Thirdly, I just want to thank you and give kudos to this district and administration for the tremendous support of the Ag Science program. Without your support, we certainly don't know where we would be. From national competitions to just the local pancake breakfast. I want to point out that in the last 10 years we have been getting stronger competitively and financially. This year was one of our strongest showings competitively and financially at the Bexar County Junior Livestock Show. This means lots of students made the auction. This year's auction, the kiddos from Judson received more than the bottom line for their projects. This in turn means that they were able to turn a profit used for next year's project or the money saved for college. These projects are very expensive, extensive, and certainly time-consuming. I would like to point to a specific someone, Dr. Mackey, for not only his personal effort in supporting the auction, but his tireless effort to bring these businesses to the table to support our kiddos at the auction, to a tune of over $10,000.
Very good.
It was very nice to go with this effort that we didn't have to worry about our kids at Judson. Dr. Mackey, thank you for all you do for us in the Judson Independent School District. The administration, I want to thank you for all you do and the support that you give us as well. You know, I was taught this at a very early age from two mentors, my parents. We have jobs, we have successes, only because we have students. With that comes passion for what you do, and I believe in what I do. Thank you, Dr. Mackey. Thank the administration. Thank you, the school board.
Mr. Trees, too, we would like to express our condolence on the loss of your mom. We have her deeply in our prayers. Thank you all for all the service that y'all have served this district in the many years in combination. Thank you all very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you all.
Okay, now we'll continue with the discussion, consideration of action items. A, consider and take action regarding approval of local district updates affecting local policies, second reading. Well, you want to do the motion first? That's fine. Motion by Ms. Adair, second by Mr. Macias. Board members, I'm going to go ahead and read them. If you have an item to be pulled, please let me know so we don't have to stay half of the night here going item by item. Double A, AA local, district legal status. Number 2, AB local, district name. 3, BBF local, board policies. 4, B, D, AA local officers and officials, duties and requirements of board officers. 5, BDB local, board internal organization, internal committees. 6, 6, BDD local, board internal organization, attorneys. 7, BJCG local superintendent, retirement or resignation. 8, BQA local, planning and decision-making process, district level. 9, BQB local, planning and decision-making process, campus level. 10, DEC local, compensation and benefits, leaves and absences. 11, DH local, employee standards of conduct. 12, DIA local, employee welfare, freedom from discrimination, harassment, and retaliation. 13, DP local, personnel positions. 14, EIAB local, grading, progress reports to parents, makeup work. 15, FB local, equal educational opportunity. 16, FD local, admissions. 17, FFF local, student welfare, student safety. 18, FFG, exhibit, student welfare, child and abuse neglect. 19, FFH local, student welfare, freedom and discrimination, harassment and retaliation. 20, FJ local, gifts and solicitations. 21, FNG local, student rights and responsibilities, student and parent complaints, grievances. 22, GF local, public complaints. 23, GKD local, community relations, non-school use of school facilities. 24, GKDA local, non-school use of school facilities, distribution of non-school literature. Now that, yes. Okay, number 21. Other than that, which one? Oh, 21, 22. Okay. Other than that, we'll be voting from 1 to 24 except 21 and 22. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. 21, FNG local, student rights and responsibilities, student and parent complaints, grievances.
Mr. President, I'd
Yes.
like to make a motion to approve FNG local with changing 10 to 7 days instead of 10, 7 days.
Oh, it's the reverse?
No, in this policy, we have changed it to 10 to 7 in other policies. We want to be consistent.
Oh, okay. Okay, we got it. Okay. We had a motion and on the amendment and the second by Mr. Macias. Did you get that? Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, no further discussion? All those in favor of the amendment to the motion, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, likewise. Motion carries. B, consider and take possible action regarding approval of, oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought we were voting on GF also. Okay, 22, public complaints. Ms. Sader.
Motion to approve with the change of 10 to 7 days.
Oh, okay. Motion and a second by amendment and a second by Mr. Sellier. Okay, discussion. If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. Now we go to B. B, consider and take possible action regarding approval of dedicating the Judson High School Library in honor of Ms. Bonnie Schultz. Ms. Adair. Motion by Ms. Adair. Second by Mr. Flores. Discussion. Mr. Senator.
When we say honor, what's that mean? A plaque or name it? I mean, what's that actually mean? I guess is my question.
We in the past, when the last one we did was the Judson Band Hall. Mm-hmm. We named it in honor of the gentleman that was the first band director, wrote the song. Anyway, he had a lot of accolades, and so we had a ceremony, a dedication,
Okay.
and it's referred to as that. So when the
Okay.
Judson High School, they won't say the library, they'll say the Bonnie Schultz Library.
Any other discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carries. Somebody needs to notify the Schultz family. Okay. Thank you, Ms. Vera. C. Consider and take possible action regarding approval to provide a construction audit by an independent firm of the 2013 bond. Mr. Macias. Motion by Mr. Macias, second by Ms. Adair. Discussion.
Yes. Central to, I think, this bond, we talked about oversight and accountability, and something I've been very vocal about is to add in a third layer of oversight for our bond, something that our previous bonds have not had. I asked the board to consider this because it's a step up, if you will, from what we've done in terms of oversight, and I think would be well received by the community to know that we are trying to manage every dollar within the bond. So what I'd like to do today is actually initiate the process to have an internal audit of our bonds to basically encompass an evaluation of the processes as well as the financial expenditures of bond dollars. It's something I really believe will ensure that the $83 million bond package is spent wisely. And of course, what I'm looking at is that we're going to need more support from our community. So the more that we can show them that we're being fiscally responsible, I think the more effective we'll be able to sell our future bond as well. So I'm open to questions, but obviously it's on the agenda so we can discuss and potentially pass it.
Mr. Sellier.
Yes. First of all, this costs money. Okay? We have no idea what this would cost. We have $75,000 in this year's budget for an internal auditor, which we have not done. Okay? And I'll be frank, I don't think we need this. We have a Copperfield, which is exact replica of Rolling Meadows, on time, under budget, by Sane Construction Company. I don't know what the issue would be except spending more money for the same outcome. So I'm not supporting this. This is just another, let's spend some more money. We had an auditor once, and what do we spend? $22,000 and got nothing from them. I mean, that first audit, we spent a chunk of change, and when the guy gave us a report, there was nothing in it. So I won't be supporting this.
Say there.
Thank you. I have quite a few questions about this. I'll just put all the questions, and then Dr. Mackey, if you can answer them as. I have what type, when we say a construction audit, what does that mean? Who does these? When would it take place? How would this occur? And what do we have in place that equates to the answer to the first question? And then I'd like to know, I know we have a committee of mayors that meet, and if the mayors, and we haven't heard any report on, I intentionally have not went to any of those meetings so as not to be accused of micromanaging. So I have no idea of what they're receiving or what they're doing. So can you answer those kinds
I cannot answer the audit and what kind of audit because I don't have the answer to that right there. That's it. But it's not just the mayors. There's the people that the president and the secretary of the bond and some community members on that committee too. And what we give them is all the information that's on the internet. We give them a payment schedule each month of what we paid out and what the bond is, and any information that they request for the next meeting, we provide that information to them, and they can ask any question that they would like on the bond. This bond is pretty simple because it's a competitive seal proposal and it's only one price, and we just have to make the payment on the cost of the building, and that's all we can do. So we give that to them every month, and we're up to I think what 45%. It's 60 for at 40% that we've paid out so far. Yeah, we've paid out 40% so far, and we've paid on time. Architect was late on one payment for January, but we caught up and we paid them 2 in February. So I did talk to Mr. Jarvis about that we wrote a letter to the architect that we got to have that in to us so we can pay them on time. And that was the only little problem that we've had. Mr. Elizondo and I went out there and met with the scheduler and all the people yesterday to look at, make sure that payments are done and make sure that we see exactly what they say they were doing. So we went out there and looked at it to make sure we had the concrete is paid. Concrete is done on the first and second floor. They starting on the outside. They putting the units, air conditioned things on the inside. They going down from the cafeteria all the way down to the gym portion, putting the roof on. They're working on that. They said within 3 weeks that they're trying to get the roof put on out there, close it in.
Mr. Keith, can you explain what audit will do?
There are two aspects of a construction audit that are examined, and we can direct one or both. My recommendation is both. But there's a fiscal analysis of monies that are spent on the bond, which the internal audit would review to ensure that those expenditures are appropriate. The second is there's a process, almost just like procurement-based, where they're assessing processes to make sure that invoices and such aren't duplicated. And so, again, I'm not an expert in those areas, but based on my discussions with Walsh Anderson, who has done this type of work, that's the difference, or the differences on an internal audit for a construction project. Obviously, I would expect the administration to kind of get additional materials on moving this forward. My basis for putting this on the agenda was that we do need some controls, and an independent third party helping in that will strengthen our bond and ensure that it's being spent appropriately. So if the board decides to move forward with it, I'm certain that we can actually get additional information to address those questions. If I could talk briefly what Mr. Sellier mentioned about budget, had the board inserted this component early when we were voting to put the bond in play, we could have used bond dollars to pay for this internal audit. But it wasn't voted upon, so now we're doing it on the back end. And now, yes, we have to spend operational dollars to ensure that we have this process. But if we spend 1% on a $83 million project, I think that's well worth the return on investment. I don't know what those costs are. As Dr. Mackey alluded to, it is a pretty simple bond, so which means hours put into the bond, our assessments, should be limited. So we get our experts working on this. It probably won't be as costly as some of the other internal audit mechanisms. But I would love to have this process come back with a big seal of approval that everything is going well so that we can tell our community, hey, this is working well, and we've double-checked and triple-checked, and, you know, dollars are being spent wisely. So,
Mr. Flores.
Thank you. Mr. Macias, I just have to say that I don't think you understand all the ramifications of bringing in an audit firm like this, or project manager or something, someone to oversee this. Normally, they run around 2 to 3%. That's an $83 million bond. That's $1.6 million at 2%. You know, so that's something, you know, we have to look at this way. It's not like, you know, and we did that before, Dr. Mackey, when we built the high school. What they were doing is they were taking the invoices that were presented by the staff, and you know, they were going through and saying, yeah, they were done, you know, but you've got to get someone that's going to be responsible if they say, hey, you're over budget here, and if you come in over budget and they didn't say anything, they got to take responsibility to make that up, do something like that. Now, I'll go for something like that, but even if we were to hire an accounting firm just to look over the books, make sure things are being paid on time, I don't see that problem, you know, with this. It's like Dr. Mackey says, it's pretty much a straightforward bond where we're not doing you know, like we did with the last bond where we had $236 million, so many renovation projects, so much new facilities. You know, this is a high school, and it's a elementary school. And we're going to be stretched on both of them, really, with this $83 million. And that's not our fault. That's not, an auditor will say, well, the cost just went up. You know, I mean, that's what can you say about it, you know? So, you know, I can see that if we go after a bigger bond later down the road, which we may have to because we'll have to add on to that high school out there. But I honestly think that the administration, I believe Mr. Elizondo has a position out there for an accountant. You know, we're building up that staff and be able to take care of it that way. And, you know, that's just my thoughts on that. But I know what it's going to cost to have someone come in at a percentage rate.
You talked about project manager. There's no way that I would be voting for a project manager. I think it was a disaster the last time, and I was not on the board. I don't know whether you were on the board or not when they paid that guy $2-3 million. As a matter of fact, you were the only one that voted against it, if I remember correctly. So no, I thought we're asking for an extra auditor, but I think we're asking to go for an RFQ. And if they're going to say we need $1.2 million, I am not going to be accepting that. No way that I would accept a bid like that. Am I correct? We're going out for a bid? No RFQ? Yes. Mr. Macias?
Dr. Mack.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can
Yeah, I don't even know what we're going to, I don't know.
Can Mr.
Elizondo,
Yeah, can he talk?
go ahead, sir. No, I supported 75,000. If it comes back to 85, 90, 100, no, I will not support that. And I'm saying that publicly right now.
Right, and please remember that there's another audit that the board has requested that we look into, that's out on the street right now. And so when that audit comes back, we're going to see how much that one's going to cost, because it's supposed to come out of that $75,000 as well.
Okay.
So we may not have enough money for both. I don't know that right now, but I'm saying it may be the case. I'm not sure.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Mr. Salyer.
Yes. I think people are missing the point that this is a sealed bid. Okay? Dr. Mackey, can I have Mr. Kirshner explain exactly what a sealed bid is, meaning no cost overruns, it's one price?
Well, both of these projects, even the high school that's out on the street right now, are competitive sealed proposals, which means, like you said, we get back one price. There are options in there once you get the price in to try to value engineer, to save money. There also is contingency in each package for things because, granted, plans are never 100% perfect, and things will come up through the course of that. So we have contingency set aside for those type of things. Anything else that's done to the project is at the owner's request. So if we have any additions to the project, we have to ask them for those. They have to price them out and then come back to us and say, this is what you want, this is what it costs, you want it, and then we can make adjustments at that point. But no, the project itself, as bid, as on the street, is
It's a
one price.
fixed cost. One cost for both schools, no overruns,
And
except we
let me
ask.
elaborate a little bit on what Mr. Foda said, just so that y'all have a big
Cost
big
per
picture.
school.
Right?
Okay. It's
When
a
you
fixed-
do when you do the construction, the CM at risk, the construction manager at risk, which is what we did at Judson High School, that is where an auditor or a project manager comes more into play, because there the construction manager at risk, that particular individual, gives us a guaranteed maximum price, which says the building's not going to go over this much. But there's a lot of wiggle room in between there. So every time they're issuing bids throughout the entire job, there are different prices coming in for electrical or for mechanical or whatever else. And so those have to be checked to make sure that they're not playing with those numbers, because the number, the guaranteed maximum price is the highest, but we can definitely pay lower than that. In this particular instance, like everybody's mentioning, they give us a fixed cost. $20 million, that's what you're going to pay, period. As long as you don't make any changes, it's $20 million. If it costs the general contractor $10 million to build that school, and he's making a $10 million profit, that's what he gets. If it costs him $21 million to build that school, and he loses $1 million, that's what he gets. We're not going to see any part of that, good or bad. So it's a totally different concept than a CM at risk, where, yes, there you find all kinds of little things that could go wrong, and an auditor can point out and say, no, you charged us to this project, and you shouldn't have. We're not going to pay for that. We've heard stories about at other school districts where they would make donations to the Education Foundation and charge of the project. And they're like, no, we're not paying for that. Take that out of there. You decided to do that. Those kind of things. But in this particular case, when we said this is what we're paying, it's one price, it is what it is, then that's it. We're not going to pay any more than that, unless, like Mr. Kirshner said, we request a change, that they're going to change something, move that door from here to here, or something like that.
And the board would have to do that. We would think that the board is to do that. Because at the high school, when we talk about the overrun at that stadium, the board decided to put that stuff underneath, they decided to do the bleachers, so that caused that. So if we go, if something else that changes, if anything changes in a bid, it has to come to the board. So otherwise, the bid is going to say something, $19,600,000. It's not going to change. Unless the board wakes up between now and August and say, I want something different. That's the only way it's going to change. Otherwise, that number stays the same.
So I have a motion to amend, Mr. Salinas. Motion to amend that if this passes, the cost of this comes out of the $75,000 that approved for internal auditors.
Second.
But I thought that we already had that understanding.
No, there's nothing in here that says that. There's nothing in here that says where this money comes from.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? There's nothing in here that says consider and take possible action regarding approval to provide construction audit. There's nothing in here where this money comes from. If this approved, I want this money coming out of $75,000 already approved for an auditor.
I did anticipate having to amend our budget not to take from our $75,000 for the HR audit. That's a separate deal. So
It's an internal audit. So we're on the amendment. We have a motion and a second. We're on the amendment.
Okay. Discussion on the amendment. Go ahead, sir.
yes, I appreciate the amendment and trying to save money, but there's no way we can actually get an adequate audit by severing that $75,000 or splitting it. We actually need to be aggressive and invest, and that's what this is. We're investing in ensuring that we're holding our dollars accountable. So if it means spending a little money, we do that all the time for all kinds of other things. So I think this amendment, as well intended as it may be, is not going to really help. It's going to actually compromise both audits, and we don't want that. We're actually in a good place to where we can see some positive outcomes.
Say there. Okay.
Well, June, my point here of all this is blank. There's a blank check. And we have money budgeted for an internal auditor. If you want an internal auditor, you need to use the budgeted money for an internal auditor. That's what I'm saying. Okay?
I understand what you're saying. I have some other questions.
So,
Okay. So let's go ahead and vote on the amendment, right, sir? Okay. All those. Well, let me do it by roll call. Ms. Ade. Mr. Macias. Mr. Flores. Mr. Sally. No on me. Thank you. Amendment fails. Now, you wanted to discuss the.
Back to you. Yes. You had mentioned, or maybe it was Gilbert, but anyway, somebody mentioned fiscal analysis. What I'd like to know is, what do we have in place? I understand the competitive seal proposal. I understand that part. I understand the one price. What do we have in place besides the oversight committee? Is that the proper name?
Yes.
Okay. Besides the oversight committee, what do we have in place to check the monies,
Okay.
the proper, what do we have now?
I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
We have an individual, it's Teresa Bear, that's
Okay,
her.
we brought her back.
Yes, that's
Okay.
her. That's her job, is to monitor that daily. I visited with her today on that. I asked her, was there any problem? She said, Dr. Mackey, this is the simplest thing that I've had to do. She says, not anything to it. She said, even this month, there's not a whole lot to it. And she's the one that handled it. And I went because I saw it it's on the agenda, and I visited with her today. If there's any concerns or anything like that, would she please let me know? And she shared with me today that there was no concerns on it, unless Mr. Elizondo can tell me.
She writes the
Mr.
checks, is that
Elizondo,
what
is there
she
any
does?
concerns with it?
He doesn't write the checks. No, sir, there is no concerns. And she doesn't write the checks, but she is one of the oversight. See, kind of what happens in a typical process is there's work being done on the job site.
Okay.
The general contractor, when he gets to a certain point, and there's just already a schedule, as when this gets done, we're at a certain percent of completion. So just to make you a real easy kind of example, let's say they pour all the concrete, and they say, okay, at that point, we're at 10% of completion of the project. They submit their paperwork to our facilities department. It's a regular AIA document that's everybody uses who does this kind of stuff. They review it. They make sure they go out to the job site, make sure that they really are at that completion. They give it to our architects, in this case, SHW. They go out to the job site. The engineers go out to the job site. Everybody goes out to make sure that, yes, this is really where they are at this point of this percent of completion. And everybody signs that application. Everybody does. The general contractor does, the architect, our people, Mr. Kirshner. Everybody signs that, yes, they really have reviewed everything. Then our accountant goes through, Ms. Bear, goes through and makes sure that the percentage they're trying to pay is exactly 10% of that project. And then we hold a retainage. So out of the payment, we hold 5% of that. At the very end, for the punch list, in case something doesn't go right, we still have that. And on this particular project, it's going to be about $1 million that we're going to be holding back until we're happy with the entire building. And she reviews it, I review it, we all sign off it. All the payments are entered online by a different department, by our accounts payable department. They actually process the checks. And for these particular two vendors, though, for Journeyman, who's doing Kirby, and George is doing Copperfield, we actually pay them via an ACH deposit. So once all is done, it gave me the paperwork.
Electronic.
I send them electronic. Then I give it to my director of accounting. She reviews everything to make sure everything's okay. And then we all say, okay, it's ready. Go ahead and send it, and we're done.
So when we had our audit, the annual audit that we get every year, did they look at the bond stuff as well?
At that particular time, the bond hadn't been issued yet.
Okay, but I'm
So
saying,
what happens?
this coming year,
Yes.
when we get our annual audit again, is this bond part of that?
Yes, and what they do is they'll look at our largest, for procurement purposes, they look at our largest expenditure items, and they'll go back and say, they'll go to Mr. Ashmore's office and say, we want to see all the documentation for how this procurement happened, and to make sure that we follow all the steps, that everything was done properly. And if there's any problems, of course, they'll tell you, it'll be in the findings letter, and there'll be a management letter telling you that these are some issues. They will pull that this coming year for this year, because that, like I said, it hadn't been done yet during, last school year when they were here. And then they'll review all the payments as well. They'll do a sampling of all the payments and make sure that all the applications are on time. And at the end of the year, we actually have to book some things that are called, like the retains I was telling you about. We have to show that we still owe that money at the end of the year, because by the end of the year, we're not going to have it paid by the end of our fiscal year. And so they'll go back and recheck all the numbers to make sure they were holding the proper retainage and all the applications to make sure they were done properly.
So then the other part of it, because we said it's to show whether or not the monies are being spent appropriately, we really aren't controlling individual people like we did at the high school.
No,
We had an electrician, we had a plumber, we had all these other people.
No, we don't control that.
Okay.
It's the general contractor does that.
So we just have one figure. And
That's correct.
then, and I understand the percentages. So then on the processes, what actually could they look at as far as the process? Would they look at the process of how your department checks and his department sends his people out? Is that what they would be looking at?
That's exactly correct. What they will do is they'll come out with a questionnaire, and it's usually their internal control questionnaire, and where they want to come in and get an idea of exactly what things are in place. And that gives them a really good idea of what your processes are. And then, once they have that, then they test them. Are you really following those things that you told them you were doing? And to make sure that if I tell them that there's 3 levels of approval, and this is what goes to first, this is what goes to second, third, then they're going to go pull some sample tests out of our payments and say, all right, this is what they told us, let's see if they're really doing that. And even as the first step, where they're asking a questionnaire, if you answer no to any of their questions, typically it's a no, depending on how they then they know, okay, there's a potential weakness here they got to look at. If you're answering yes to most of their questions, again, it depends on how they phrase the questions, then they may be happy with it. But it's not enough that you just tell them yes. Now they're going to go back and check and make sure that yes. Now, on this particular,
Go ahead.
on these particular projects, we're at a point right now, and I welcome y'all to do whatever the board wants, but we're at a point right now where we really haven't issued very many payments. I mean, if they're going to come out and test something, they're going to find that we've maybe paid, all in all, when we talk about architectural payments, engineers, the payments we made to Mr. Joris's company, maybe 12 to 20 transactions that have happened that they'll be able to test, which may be a good thing because it's early in the process. If there's any flaws, they can catch them now. And then again, maybe you don't want them to do it now. Maybe you want to wait to do it later when they're going to fight. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, we can only pay X amount of money for that contract. That's the only thing the board authorized. That's what the PO the issue says. That's what Dr. Mackey authorized. And every time we make a payment, the PO balance starts declining. So once you can't get beyond the system won't let you. If you want to pay more than that, we're going to have to do another purchase order to get all the approvals again, including Dr. Mackey, to say, yes, you can pay another $1 million or $2 million or $3 million on this project. And of course, we're not even going to do that because we know that the board didn't authorize it, so we're not going to allow that to happen. Sure.
And two, when we had that last bond, our attorney Fowler put some things in there because we had officially put some stops in there, like say for instance when the architect signed off, Mr. Kirshner signs off, Mr. Valdez, our local architect, signs off, Mr. Elizondo signed off, and the last person, Des, it hit his mind, and I put my name on it, sign off on it too. So we had about 5 people that has to go through before we sign off on that right there, because we don't want things to happen the way they happened last time. So that's why they asked us to put these, we have several people signing off and reviewing this.
This may seem like a silly question. Go ahead. It's my last.
No. That I'm aware of, there was no issues last time as far as payments being duplicate payments, things of that nature.
No,
there may be some other concerns, but it had nothing to do
issue.
with any of that stuff. I just
No,
want to
sir.
be real clear about that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So, and I'm not trying to be funny. Let's say this as diplomatically as I know how. What is it that we can do to assure our community? I mean, we're having this great discussion, and I've learned a lot tonight, but how do we assure the community that we're doing everything properly and correctly? I mean, I know you have the oversight committee, and I think maybe, and I'm going to mess with Mr. Lipscomb again, they don't get enough publicity, maybe we need to announce their meetings or announce they've met and put a picture of them on TV. The oversight committee for the Judson Bond has been meeting, and they have this information. And
Mr. Dare, we have hired, this district has employed 2 attorney firms, Waltz Anderson, George Grimes, and Fowler Association, which is the best construction, I think, in the state of Texas, in doing it. They do audits all the time. So you have 2 of them within that the board has already approved to do it, to do audits of that. If it's for a community deal to show that we're doing this, you have 2 people without going out for a bid. You've already approved them. So that's 2 right there. If it's for a community deal and all of that, we're more than happy for anybody to see what we're doing, because we know we've taken care of business right. So that's why it doesn't bother us. We're going to go whatever the board says. We're going to do whatever the board says, because we're fine with it. Whatever y'all decide, we're going to support it.
Dr. Mackey, can I just make one global comment?
Yes.
In the
a
end,
global comment. Wow.
we asked the voters for $83 million to build an elementary school and a high school, and we said we're going to do it for $83 million. And in the end, if we do that, we have satisfied our agreement with the constituents.
The only part I'm holding my breath on is the high school and the number of students we said we would put in it. That's where our danger is.
1,600.
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm waiting to hope we have enough
we
money
won't-
to stay with what we said.
We won't know
But
that.
everything else, I think we got it.
March 18th is the day the bids come in.
Oh, okay.
We got 2 bids coming in. One at base bid for each of the offices. So that's the 18th. We got 2 of them coming in then.
I'm going to try to make an amendment, Mr. Sawyer, and I may need some help from you because I don't really know what I'm doing. I move to amend the motion as is to change the language for a fiscal analysis and processes to be done by our current attorney, George Grimes, with Walsh Anderson, to provide additional oversight.
The problem is, we're writing a blank check again. In June, you and I agree on this, costs. What's this going to cost? Now, you ask an attorney to do an audit, they get billed by the hour. And we're writing a blank check here. That's my problem with this. I have no problem with oversight. But the way this is written, what is the cost? And you tell an attorney to go out and do an audit or something, and they're great people, like Dr. Mackey says. We got the best, and we pay for the best. Why I made my amendment before is, what's this going to cost? And you know, and you say, I've heard it before, June. What have I said before? One teacher equals $50,000. Every time you spend $50,000, you take a teacher out of the classroom, right? So we're going to spend $250,000 on an audit that everything's already in place.
What about, Mr. Salyer, if I say to not exceed $50,000
Where's that money going to come from?
from our legal fee that we already have? We have budgeted legal fees.
But what's our mandate to those? I mean, what are they going to look at? And we got to have some direction of what to spend the money on. Yeah, that's my problem.
Well,
here.
I just
No
wrote down
direction.
what he said.
You want an
Um,
audit, okay? You want to look at receipts. I mean, but I guess my point with competitive sealed bid is it's competitive sealed bid. We're holding money back until the project is done. That's our hold, right, Mac? They're not going to get paid until it's all done and everything's done, just like Rolling Meadows was. You can audit all you want, but if it ain't right on the day it's done, we still have the checkbook. That's our hammer, our gorilla, is that we don't pay that until everything's done the right way.
We take out 5% out of every payment to keep back.
There you go.
Out of that, we do that.
That's our enforcement. I mean, you can go along. Here's the problem. One of the problems with competitive sealed bid is just like Mr. Kurt, I think, said. The contractor hires the general contractors. Okay, he says that okay, I can spend $150,000 on electric or whatever, and the bid comes in. He can't get it for $150,000. He's got to spend $300,000. That's his problem, not the district's problem. But on roofing, he saves $3 million. Well, that's $3 million in his pocket. We're in this competitive sealed bid. We can't audit something that we don't have control over, i.e., all the subcontractors. That's between the contractor and the subcontractor. And he's going to obviously get the smallest cost for whatever part of that he does. So going in there, you can't go in and say, well, you're paying too much for electric or too much for roof, or you're not paying enough. How do we do that? It's a competitive sealed bid. That's why this audit is confusing to me, because it's a competitive sealed bid. What do we check on? We have a payment plan. We make the payment plan. We're holding back 5%. So what? The auditor finds something that says, well, we don't like the way they're doing this. You know what? We got a contract in our competitive sealed bid, Jude, that says we hold 5% back.
But, Mr. Elizondo, Dr.
Yes, ma'am.
Are we talking about them looking at the processes and possibly having a suggestion for something that we could do different in our processes? When you say we've done 12 to 20,
That's exactly what they would do.
okay.
They were going to look at those and test our systems, and if they find anything, to report that. Otherwise, they're going to come back and just say if there's any weakness that they see, they're going to say maybe you want to do something different here.
I don't want to spend any more than $50,000. I like dollar limits. I agree with you on that. I think I just, and I got out of order because I didn't get, Mr. President, you should cancel my motion because I didn't get a second, and so the motion actually died. So I'll redo the amendment to say, I want to be real clear, don't want a project manager, but to utilize the services of Walsh Anderson, i.e. George Grimes, because that's the name Dr. Mackey gave me, and they would be looking at our processes and if we're doing them appropriately to not exceed $50,000. Is that a clear motion? Oh, okay, just use the company, just use the law firm? Use somebody else? Okay. I'll remove Mr. Grimes' name, and I'll say Walsh Anderson to conduct the internal audit of the construction processes for the 2013 bond to not exceed $50,000.
Second. Okay, so
That was an amendment.
you have an amendment to the motion.
Yes, sir.
Discuss.
Second by Mr. Macia, discussion. Mr. Selly.
I know what you're trying to do, but again, we're shooting an arrow in the forest. What does it cost to do this audit? We don't know.
Well, we know it's not going to be more than 50 because that's
So then why spend money on something you know if you can get a good product on? We don't know what the product's going to be. We don't know what it costs to do a review, as you're calling it, of the processes. Okay? Now, let me put this in there. Our accounting part of this district does what? They abide by the accounting principles, and I don't know what the organization is, Mr. But when you see the audit, when we get our yearly audit, what's it say? Abides by the accounting principles of whatever the accounting association is. What is it? Is that it? Whatever it is, okay? So we're abiding by accounting principles in everything we do, and it's been audited. So our accounting principles have already been audited, and we've already have a statement in there that they're doing it the correct way. So
we haven't
what?
done the bond yet, he said.
Well, you haven't done the bond, but our accounting principles are sound. Whether it's a bond or what else, accounting principles are sound, is what this says.
And I want to clarify too, they haven't done the 2013 bond, which y'all asked. That doesn't mean they haven't done past bonds, because we've had past bonds as well, just not this one yet.
Can I ask Mr. Flores a question, Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Flores, in your experience, based on what Mr. Sally just said, I understand accounting. One day I thought I wanted to be a CPA. I started college. So can you tell me, are there processes that we're talking about that can be evaluated in possible suggestions for a better way, even though we're using accounting principles?
I can tell you this, that you're going to get an auditing firm or the attorneys, they're going to look at the processes that we are doing. They're not going to go out there and say, well, this could be done better or cheaper over here. They're going to look at how we're doing our approval system, how we're doing our payments, how we're holding the retention, the retainage back. That's what they're going to look at. They're not looking at how are we spending our money over here. Again, it's the type of bid it is. Whereas the last one was, hire everybody, and it was a lot different. And this one is, sealed bid. That's what we're tied to. And they're going to look at the processes of how we're making our payments and how we're doing that. That's what it's going to do. As far as what's out there, I'm not a forensic auditor that can look at and see what's going on by that. There are firms that can do that, and we have gotten our opinions from our CPA firms that look at our books, that have looked at them for the past 5 years, that we have not had a problem with them. With our processes, we have not had a problem with internal controls. You can look at some districts that have lost millions of dollars, through their lack of internal controls. We don't have that yet. Besides Mr. Elizondo's Bentley out there, but no, his Rolls Royce, no. We look at things as an accountant. As accountants, you look at things and say, okay, what are we doing? How are we doing it right, and how are we doing it wrong? Yeah, yeah, no, but to answer your question, I don't know of a process that will say, hey, we can do this. I can tell you what these people are going to come in and do, and I think Mr. Elizondo will agree that we speak the same language as far as accounting goes, and we know what's going to happen, and we speak Spanish too. No. No, but sorry, I can't really answer you.
So, you have an amendment, man? Mr. Macias.
Thank you guys for allowing me that space.
They wanted to talk first. I still want to ask some questions. Go ahead.
Thank you. It's not a bad thing. I'm telling you, we want to grow up and be like Northside and Northeast and actually better. And I can tell you that they have internal controls, internal audits for their bonds. It's not rocket science, but this district is growing, and this is something that's a reality and something that this district is going to have to learn how to incorporate and put into their future projects. We spend a lot of money amending our budget all throughout the year, Steve. So, I mean, $50,000 really isn't a lot. We have a $200 million budget. But I tell you what will happen. The return on investment for that money will make our community feel like we're taking every potential step to ensure that the dollars and processes are done correctly. And that's invaluable. And remember, we have another bond to put out there. We didn't get everything we needed with this bond. So we need to start growing up real quick and incorporating these practices now. Mind you, I'm not an expert in this area. I just know what I would like to see in terms of vision. So there's growing pains with it. We don't want to spend $1.6 million, and I would dare say it wouldn't even come close to that. I really feel that once we have Walsh Anderson do this internal audit, they'll probably come back because it's such a streamlined bond at a much lower cost. So I really think it's just an intelligent move for this board to do and really to show the community. And I'll tell you, our oversight committee with the mayors, there's no minutes. I've asked for minutes on what questions are being asked, and there's nothing. So usually what you have is you have a community oversight committee, and we have a mayoral oversight committee, and we've kind of excluded the community. So we're going to have to pay for that later. So the way we pay back is by having these internal audit controls to show the community we've done more than we needed to. So the fact that there's no minutes, oversight, I would have to say, is weak. I would actually like to have this dedicated professional that you alluded to, Dr. Mackey, work on something that's going to impact our schools specifically, not work on a bond, because we can hire somebody, as you can see, hopefully we'll do today, and have her energies focused on the education of our kids. So I see this as a win-win. We hire consultants. Sorry?
You have to have a bond account.
So, you have to have an administrative bond accountant?
She's a bond accountant. She's not a education.
And we couldn't use her talent somewhere within the district? Are we paying her? No, we're not. This is a salaried position.
This individual, because this bond, again, and I hate to minimize this because y'all, whatever y'all do, we're going to do. It doesn't matter to me. This bond is so minimal that she has another full-time job. When we finished the 2006 bond, we removed her because that position was eliminated. We had another position and we brought her into, so she does a lot of other things. She does a lot of, what she really does most of her time is she's out doing audits on student activity funds and campus activity funds.
See?
And make sure
That's
so she
big.
works, she does that most of her time. She works in the bonds. She dedicates as much time as she needs to the bonds. That's her primary objective right now. And then the other part is secondary. But this is so minimal that right now it doesn't take very much of her time.
Before
She was 100%
100%.
bond when we had the 2006 money.
But that's because we had the 243 million
Right,
bond.
right.
But since this is so minimum, we don't need as much, so we're getting her auditing the other accounts too.
Well, gentlemen, ladies, I do feel that this is a smart move, and I'm willing to definitely cap it from the onset. And if we get a report from Walsh Anderson as they conduct this internal audit that is going to cost more, I'm certainly certain that they'll talk with us, and we'll discuss why and what the reasoning for that is.
We have, okay, I'm not going to talk on the amendment. We're going to take a vote. There's an amendment.
consider and take possible action regarding approval to provide a construction audit to utilize services by Walsh Anderson over the construction processes not to exceed $50,000.
Okay, we're going to vote on the amendment to the motion. Is that correct? Mr. Flores? Mr. Salyer? Ms. Adair? Mr. Macias? No on the amendment. So it's a tie vote. No? Yeah. Right, right. Okay, we're back on the same thing. Now I have some questions. You said the accountant that we have, the young lady, whatever, Teresa Bear, is she the one that made this? Okay. I would like to continue getting this every board meeting. And I think it's self-explanatory here. We say actual expenditures and encumbrances remain in balance. Again, we told the community 83 million. We're going to build an elementary and a high school, and I think we're in the process. My concern is we're too early in the process to be hiring another auditor to come and look at the same page, and they will say, you know what? Hey, things are getting pretty good. They're being paid on time or whatever. So I'm at the point that I would table this motion pending how much it's going to cost us for the other RFQ, which is the HR. So I'm going to make an amendment that we table this particularly motion. And okay, I make a I make a motion, right? I mean, I'm amending the motion to table until we get how much it's going to cost the HR audit, because we only said $75,000 for auditors. So, any discussion? Okay, let's vote on. Yes, sir.
I can appreciate table, and I actually will support the table so that the administration can gather more information specifically to this issue and to wait for the HR audit cost. But I do want to note that before you know it, we'll be halfway through our high school by the time we institute it. So hopefully the strategy that Ms. Adair recommended with Walsh Anderson, just going quickly into it, will help expedite things. And I do say that because we're already in month 4, and we passed the internal audit for HR in November, and we still haven't had something materialize. So this won't happen with the bond. Apparently, if we go the route of Walsh Anderson, we'll be able to again alleviate some of these issues. But anyway, that's all I had to say.
Okay. Great. Go ahead, ma'am.
Dr. Mackey, I definitely support Mr. Salinas, but I would ask that in the meantime, if you could provide the board some information. I apologize, I missed this item, and so I didn't ask any questions. That just skipped by me. But if you could get with Walsh Anderson and let us know, you can send us a little memo or something
We'll
saying
we'll take care of it.
this is what they'll do.
Yeah, we'll take care
what
of it.
it costs.
We'll take care of it.
That'll be great.
We'll take care of it. Mr. Elizondo? Okay, thank you.
Okay. We're ready to vote?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor of the motion, of the amendment on the motion, right? Signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? No. Okay. Motion carries. And that's it.
And Mr. President, it was actually a motion to table. So we didn't amend the other motion, it was just a motion to table.
Oh, okay. Motion to table, yes. Okay. Okay, now we can move on. And thank you for this report.
Yeah, we'll put that in every month.
Yes, sir.
Well, every
Please.
board agenda, Mr. Kirshner? Is that-
Consider and take possible action regarding approval of the personnel report and updates, including new hires, resignation, administrative appointments. Motion by Mr. Salio.
Second.
Second by Ms. Adair.
Request closed session.
Request closed session.
And I don't mind if we wait and do the discussion before we go to closed session.
What?
Do the discussion.
Do the discussion because of people.
Oh. Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, item 6, discussion items. Superintendent report, and give us an update.
Curriculum update, Ms. Grady, if you would come and take the mathematics curriculum update. And board members, this is curriculum, this is math. This is one of the things that y'all talked about, that there was a two-way communication on what we're doing with curriculum and instruction in math.
Outstanding.
Okay.
So much.
So I want to make sure that y'all have any questions or whatever in math, that we have it here ready tonight. So it's a two-way communication. If y'all never heard it before, we're going to have it again. That I want to repeat it. This is a two-way communication. Since y'all never heard it before, we have it tonight.
I was cold. Now all of a sudden I'm fanning again. Good evening, Mr. Salinas, board members, and Superintendent Dr. Mackey. I wanted to share with you tonight just some of the major initiatives that are occurring in our math department here in Judson ISD. And I've provided for you in your packet just evidence of those 4 initiatives that I wanted to speak about tonight. You may have questions, of course, after I review those initiatives with you very, very briefly. Some of you were on the board, and you probably remember when we requested funds for our calculator initiative. That was a 3-year phase-in initiative, and this is year 3 of that particular initiative. And this year we purchased calculators for Algebra 2 students and also students completing taking a physics class. We have noticed now, and what I included in your packet is that the commissioner now, because of our new TEKS, has granted permission for 8th grade students to use their graphing calculators on the STAR assessment beginning next year in the spring of 2015. So we're pleased that we were proactive in purchasing calculators for our 8th grade students. And so what we'll continue to do is conduct an inventory to ensure that there's a one-to-one usage for our 8th grade students. We also are looking at our 5th and 6th grade teachers because of data. As you may have been here when Ms. Deffenbaugh presented our data from last year, our 5th and 6th grade students, our teachers continue to struggle with instruction, and that's demonstrated in our data. So one of the things that we wanted to do was go ahead and start a new initiative involving workstations, and we're starting small. The initiative is over 2 years, and the reason it's over 2 years is we want 1 year to grow teachers' knowledge regarding what workstations are, and then we want to give them a 2nd year to improve upon the alignment of those workstations. And this year in particular, year 2, is important because we will have brand new mathematics TEKS for those teachers. So when we bring on our 3rd year cohort, hopefully, the cohort number 2, year 3, one of the benefits in having that cohort would be that we've built capacity with a group of teachers who can share their products with math workstations. The new group will have a group of teachers that may have what we might consider lab classrooms, so teachers can go in and view the workstations in place. And that is for 5th and 6th grade teachers, and we started with the group of teachers that feed into the Wagner cluster. We wanted to honor the work of, or the promotion, I guess, of writing in our district, and that's been really promoted by our superintendent. And so we spent a great deal of time this year teaching teachers the difference between writing to learn and learning to write. So writing to learn is what occurs in all content areas outside of ELA, or English Language Arts. And in English Language Arts, we teach students to write. And so we piloted this year what we call the writing bug, and that is for grades 5 and 8. And we wanted to ensure that teachers had a different way of assessing students' content knowledge, particularly in mathematics, because we notice in many of our classrooms that the process standards are not taught. And so the Writing Bug was a way to help teachers assess those process standards and students' understanding of specific content. Next year, with new TEKS coming on board, our goal is to include the Writing Bug in grades 3 through Algebra 1, and we've also had a request to include that in science for grades 5, 8, and Biology 1. You've heard me mention on several occasions that we have new mathematics TEKS, and those TEKS we have to implement those TEKS next year in grades K through 8, and then the following year would be high school. And so I've included in your board book our implementation plan. That plan was developed by our math specialist, Maggie, Mary, and Veronica Padilla-Ferrer. Neither is here tonight. They are in Austin. We were all in Austin today attending the Texas Association for Supervisors of Math. Our fall meeting was, our spring meeting was today and tomorrow. But they're not here tonight, but they have created that plan so that we can ensure that all of our teachers are knowledgeable about the new TEKS. We want to also make sure that our principals are knowledgeable, and all of stakeholders, or all the individuals, academic leaders who oversee instruction at our campuses. So that's a brief overview of some things that are occurring, the most important, I think, initiatives that are occurring in our mathematics department. Any questions? Yes.
Hi, Mr. How you doing? I got a question. Nancy, you may write this. I remember you mentioned calculators. 2 years ago, we spent $850,000 on calculators at Graph for the STAR, and we came back and spent another $150,000.
It's phased in.
plan.
I think
Are
the
we
initial
us-
year was
Are
the
we
greatest.
using those calculators?
Yes, we are.
Because we spend $1 million on calculators, unfunded mandate. Not your problem, but
Well, it
that was
was
an unfunded mandate for this district. It was $1 million.
it was a state
That was the
mandate
TEKS.
for the high school.
Right, the teacher.
And
So we
so-
are using those in the classroom every
Yes,
day.
because you cannot wait until 8th grade now.
Right, right.
To expose students to the graphing
Right, Graph.
calculators.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, Ms. Adair, I'm sorry.
Thank you. This is lovely. Thank
You're
you, Dr.
welcome.
Mackey. I only have 3 questions.
Oh, boy.
The changes to the math that the legislature, the state board, or whoever, you'll let us know when those are actually finalized and how that'll impact us. Hopefully, it's going to help us since they're not going to require everybody to have all the higher levels.
So if you're referring to the end-of-course assessments,
And the
those changes now require students to complete only the Algebra 1 assessment.
so that'll help us, right?
I'm sure it'll help us in the long run.
We won't have so many people
You know,
struggling with
it's not, it won't be a lot of pressure on kids, but
Yeah.
yes.
There are a few endorsements, though, Ms. Adair, like the STEM endorsement, that we're going to require Algebra 2. We're going to bring it, because you can't pass, it's a prerequisite for the higher level courses for the high school STEM endorsement.
And I hope that our counselors are going to encourage the students to take that, because even now, even though they're taking it, we still have a substantial number of our students having to take remedial math when they get to the junior college. And so
that's
I am not encouraging us to not do it. I'm just saying for those of, at least it won't stop them from graduating.
And just so you know, since it's a two-way communication,
Absolutely.
part of the remediation problem was the test that the community colleges use as AccuPlacer. It actually tested things that are not in the high school curriculum in the state of Texas. So that's why kids would score lower. The community college, in looking at the problem, discovered that. They rebid that test. College Board now has it. They piloted it, and starting this year, it's called TSI, and it's aligned to the state high school curriculum.
Oh, wow.
So that, in part, will help it.
Because, when we go to the conferences, the higher ed people, they would just put us down like really bad. Y'all aren't teaching your kids, and when we get them, we have to remediate them.
The test will help completely different vendor.
Now, that's fantastic.
And
And
the
I can
cour-
use that when I go to my next one. And then on the math stipends, we're talking about math, and we're getting ready to go into our budget. So, Dr. Mackey, if you'll please ensure that you check the other districts and that we're competitive, so we don't lose the teachers after we give them all this great training.
Right.
And then lastly, our student-to-teacher ratio at the high school. What is it in math?
It varies, but in most of our classrooms, I believe we're right under 30, maybe 28 to 1.
So if y'all will look at that, the physics teachers tell me they have too many kids, and that's the problem. So I'm speaking on behalf of the physics
Okay.
teachers.
One last,
You're welcome.
one last question. I'm not done. Algebra 2, how many kids are enrolled every year in Algebra 2, would you say, estimate?
At the high school level,
Yeah, at the high school.
I would probably say about 1,600 at
both
each
high
campus,
schools.
probably.
Both high schools, 1,600. Okay, thank you.
I would have to check my figures on that, so we can give you some exact figures if you like. Okay.
Very good. Okay, B, low-income housing development. Salinas. Ladies and gentlemen, you will find that information on your packet. I am very, very concerned about the request that we have received from all these companies that want to come and build this, what they say, it's low housing, but 90% will be low housing, if I remember. But, for example, the reason they're doing it is because they are getting funding from the state of Texas, I believe. They're willing to give them $1.5 million to do these apartments. And this one, they're talking about 160 units. And this one is on Crestway Homes, right here by Millers Point, I think. We have another one here, Benz Engleman Apartments. They only gonna build 102 low housing apartments, but they're getting 1.246 $1,246,600 free from the state of Texas. And then, of course, we have another builder here, very interested, coming to Judson, 108 units. He's only getting $1.3 million freebie from the state of Texas. Then we have another one that says, well, I want to build some more here at the Arbor Centerbrook. This guy is from Florida. Obviously, he doesn't know the district. But he says, I'm willing to build 140 units. And he's getting free money from the state, $1.5 million. My concern is, believe it or not, when they come in, basically, they don't have to pay taxes to the district. Am I correct on that? Is that a correct statement, sir? But yet, as taxpayers, we better not miss our payments because we have to go to court. But yet, all these companies want to come over here promising that, hey, we're going to build low housing. But there's no advantage to the district. They're free. So what I told Dr. Mackey, tax-free. What I told Dr. Mackey, and he's working on it, they're going to have public meetings. So we're going to make sure that our district taxpayers know when they're going to be held so they can go over there and speak. He also is going to get a letter from legal and representative, probably, I don't know, Mr. Kirshner, might be over there and say, oh, by the way, this is what the district feels. We already have a lot of them. I wish you would see the number that are already in the district. They're not paying taxes, so we do not need any more of this low housing because they say, oh, we're bringing in low housing. At least 90% will be low housing. We know about that. So I think I'd like to hear from some of the other board members how they feel. Mr. Selly.
I have nothing against poor people and public housing, but the problem is, the people who are building this, getting $1 million, couple $1 million to build these, then they're getting tax abatements and don't have to pay property tax on their building, and it's sheer profit. So guess what? We get all the expense of educating these children, but we don't get any reimbursement or money to do it from these people that are making a whole lot of money. Why are there so many here? It's very profitable. It's very profitable because they enter into contracts. They get a revenue stream every year, okay, but we get no tax money. That's the problem. Is I don't care, kids, we're here to educate kids. But I think it's really unfair that this district shares 100% of the burden of the cost of educating these children while these people out of state come in here and make a ton of money on low-income housing.
And the government ensures that they get their money for rent. I'm sorry, Ms. Adair.
I just want to say that this is not a request. This is just information. And we are not the only people getting these housing applications. But what I would like the district to do to be proactive, which Ms. Robinson is always proactive in that area and supporting her superintendent, and that is to be ready with whatever strategies we need to ensure that all children receive a quality education in Judson ISD. And we will make it happen no matter what.
We're getting one right now. Mr. Macias. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to state, that what we need to be doing is developing strategies. We need to go ahead and take a look at this demographic and figure out what that need is. And again, I love that the world has opportunity to share experiences. There are other districts that have gone through this that we might be able to learn from. But that's what I think our focus needs to be. It's not a request, as Mr. Adair said. They're coming.
Mr. Flores.
I agree with that. They're just letting us know they're coming. And we're going to be getting these kids. And who's to say how many kids there will be, There weren't as many in that one big project out of the one project there on Foster Road. There weren't really that many kids, So, who's to say how many kids exactly? But, this is something that has to be taken up with legislators and stuff, that are allowing this to happen. And we really have no input on this. They're just letting us know. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to make sure and bring this out in the public. Thank you. The thing is, every time I get a letter, I come and see Dr. Mackey right away. But he understands. If we get him, we're going to have to educate him. Okay, district demographic report. Dr. Mackey. Thank you.
It's on the desktop there. I think it's behind here.
It's frozen up. It's frozen. It's no working. It's frozen. Nothing. I get nothing. Mouse won't move. Nothing.
Doesn't work.
Use
this.
Oh, it got kind of cold in here, by the way.
Doesn't use your finger. Use this.
Get me.
Here it is
Up
right
it up, up the heat now.
Is this actually what?
What? Oh, someone clicked this. No. Does it look okay? All right. Well, good evening, Board President, members of the Board, Dr. Mackey. It's very good to be here with you tonight. Tonight I will briefly go over the Texas economy, what's going on with housing, what's going on in the Judson School District. The volume. Okay. It's very good to be with you tonight. As you're well aware, the Texas economy continues to be the strongest economy in the country. We're number one in job growth, number one in population growth, and we have several cities in Texas that are doing very well. Austin and San Antonio are both in the tops in terms of job and population growth. Unemployment rates are getting better. The U.S. unemployment rate's at 6.5%. The Texas rate's at 5.6%. Bexar County's at 5.5%, and the San Antonio MSA is at 5.3%. New home construction is surging. We're seeing a significant increase in new home starts. In fact, the San Antonio region's new home starts are up 11% from a year ago. Job growth, San Antonio has added about, I believe it's 63,000 jobs in the last 3 years. So we've seen significantly, that's 4 years, significant job growth across the San Antonio region. New home starts are up. We've seen an annualized number of about 8,363. So we are seeing the new home market increase. But one of the other things we're also seeing is existing homes are selling very quickly now. So it's definitely now a seller's market. Year-to-date sales across San Antonio are up 18%. The average price is up 10%. Median price is up 6%. The number of listings is down 11%, and months of supply is down 24%. So what that's leading to is to continue to see increases in home values. So home values are floating up. That's going to be very helpful for your total appraised value of the district. Is likely to keep kind of moving up. So we've got a couple of years to where we're likely going to see some significant growth in our total appraised value in the district. In terms of looking at the region, Region 20, the surrounding school districts, Judson is fourth in Region 20 in terms of enrollment growth. From 2007 to 2012, you added 1,972 students, which was a 9% growth rate. In terms of new home construction, Judson ISD is ranked fifth. Your annual start rate for new homes, 617, and the annual closings is 627. You have 1,400 vacant developed lots. Those are lots that are on the ground, ready for builders to build on right now. You have 6,127 futures. Those are preliminarily planned concept plans where developers are planning to come your way. That's a very healthy supply. So you have well over 7,000 lots that are in position for the district to see. So that definitely puts the district to be able to maintain that 600 to 700 new homes a year. Easily going to happen because you've got the lots on the ground now and you've got the future lots coming your way. When we break that down by quarter, just to kind of give you an idea, in the third quarter we had 179 starts. That's very consistent with what we see in the last 3 years. You definitely were on pace to achieve over 600 starts in the year 2013, and you're on pace to exceed over 600 closings in 2013 as well. Here's a map to give you an idea of where is the majority of the housing taking place. This is the top 10 subdivisions for annual closings. Retama Springs is the number one with 84 annual closings, and you've got Mustang Valley 65, Northeast Crossing 61. And so you'll notice it's in the Rolling Meadows Elementary Zone, it's in the Masters Elementary Zone, it's in Millers Point, Hartman. Those are the elementary zones that are seeing the strongest growth. And these top 10, that makes up a majority of your activity. Vacant developed lots. This is where we're going to continue to see the growth in the next couple of years because this is where the lots are. And Northeast Crossing, there's 203 vacant developed lots. Worthing Oaks, 110. Mustang Valley, 107. There again, there's 872 in the top 10, and you can see that concentration in Rolling Meadow and then Masters, and then also in Salinas. Those are the areas where we see the most vacant lots. So when we do our enrollment projections, we're using this housing data to help guide us. So when we get to the projection pages, you're going to notice Masters, Rolling Meadows, and Hartman are those areas where we're seeing significant growth. Futures, this is where the futures are. Liberty, Ventura, 1,000 futures there. 932 in the Worthing Oaks. 899 in the Horizon Point. So you can see you've got some pretty large developments that are in the future category that will be coming your way. Now we sort this out by elementary zone, so you can see this is what helps us to build the enrollment projections. The Rolling Meadows is the number one elementary zone for new home starts with 220. and then you've got Masters with 123, Salinas with 120, and then Hartman is at 86. So you have 4 zones that are doing very well in terms of new home construction. And here's just some of the highlights. Cibolo Canyons, they have 246 futures, started 13 homes just in the third quarter. It's 350 to 850 price range. And then the Worthing Oaks, they had 8 starts in the third quarter. You had 110 vacant developed lots, 932 futures, and that's also in the Rolling Meadows Elementary Zone. The Liberty Ventura, it's 1,000 homes, and it's in the Masters Elementary Zone. And then I want to touch on multifamily. You brought up a good point just earlier on the tax subsidized, the affordable complexes that you're getting the notices on. They definitely do have a higher yield of students. I would say we're seeing this response across the state, so it is not isolated to Judson ISD. I'm meeting with Round Rock in the morning, and we have 3 new ones coming to Round Rock, and so it's happening. It's partially a result of the economy and due to the difficulty for young families, lower income families to find housing, so there is this surge of trying to bring on affordable housing because the single family market is now not as viable of an option because of the tightening of lending. So lending has tightened up, and it's making it more difficult for younger families to buy homes. Here's a map of your apartment complexes that have over 100 units, so it's the major apartment complexes. And we did a project for you in 2011, so we compared the number of students that were in the apartment complexes in those same units in 13 and compared it to what it was in 11, and there's an increase of 310 students in apartment complexes in their school district. Now, at the end of this report, there's a list of the 39 apartment complexes, so you can go and see the yields, the students that you're getting from those apartment complexes. The red dots are the apartment complexes that have a yield of 0.52 to 0.76. And 0.76 is really kind of a high yield for apartments because typically that's a very dense, you might have 150, 200 apartment units on 10 to 12 acres. And so that's a very dense concentration of students on a very small area. So those red ones are your largest, highest yields. The yellow dots are between 0.28 and 0.51. That's also a pretty healthy yield. And those green ones have a yield between 0.03 and 0.27. Class A apartments, those would be apartments that have a rent rate of above $1 a square foot. Those would have those rent rates like the green dots. And then your yellow dots would be some of the transitional multifamily, so they do have some kids, but your red dots are primarily going to be your more affordable apartment complex, like the ones you're getting the notices on. How does those students break out? Well, 57% of the kids in those apartment complexes are elementary, so we do see a heavier hit on the elementary burden from the multifamily yield, and then you've got 21% at middle school and 22% in the high school grades. Now, this past year, looking at your enrollment history, the yellow box is the largest grade per year, and the green box is the second largest grade per year. You grew right at 1.6%, which was 351 students of growth. I like to look at the 2 largest grades because it's not uncommon for the 9th grade to be one of the largest grades due to them, the credits kind of pinning up there. So those freshmen sometimes don't get enough credits to become sophomores. That is a statewide issue. It is not a Judson ISD issue. It happens at virtually all high schools across Texas. So we see that 9th grade usually being a little larger just because of that factor. It usually gets worked out pretty quickly. And you'll notice that in your cohorts that this year's 9th grade cohort was 1.11. And so that's pretty normal 9th grade cohort for high schools across Texas. Now looking at your enrollment projections, just to give you the district total view, the district has added 1,200 students since the year 2009. And we're projecting that the district could see by 2017 23,952 students. So from that 2009 to 2017, that would be an increase of about 2,200 students. Overall, we're anticipating that the district could grow about 4,000 students in the next 10 years. And that's, you've got the lots. Like I mentioned, you've got about 1,400 lots on the ground and about 6,000 that will eventually be coming. And so we're forecasting anywhere from a 1.9% growth rate, which would be 435 students next year. And you can see it kind of floats up to almost 2% starting in the year 2017. And when we look at this at the campus level, this is the same projections at the campus level. I would point out the Masters Elementary Zone. That's where a lot of that new housing is coming into play. They're at almost 800 students right now, so you can see it gets to about 1,200 students by the year 2019, and eventually it could get to 1,400 students in the Masters Zone. And Rolling Meadows, another one of those that has a lot of housing growth in it, 669 students presently, and it could get to over 1,000 students by the year 2023. And then one of the other to note would be Hartman. Hartman is currently at 831, and then it's going to get to about 880 in the year 2020 and gets to over 900 students by the year 2022. Yes? And this does include the current changes for the elementary zone changes for next year. So it does include those changes. Now, what does this do at the secondary level? At the secondary level, we're projecting that the middle school enrollment could get to 6,151 by the year 2023. And what you'll notice there is that Metzger Middle School could get to about 1,000 students in 2016, and it could get to 1,300 students by the year 2020. And then the Kitty Hawk Middle School is presently at about 1,300. It could get to 1,400. And then the other big one is the Judson Middle School. It's currently at 981 students. It could get to almost 1,200 students by the year 2018. So definitely have some growth going on there at the middle school. Now at the high school, I know you're going to be opening a high school, so that's going to be very helpful. The high school, Judson High School, is 3,419. It could get to about 3,500, and then ultimately about 3,800 in the year 2023. Wagner High School is at 2,248, and it could get to about 2,600 in 2023 as well. I'll just summarize, then we'll go back and answer any questions. But in summary, the Judson housing market does remain very stable, and there's over 6,100 committed futures. The district may see over 600 starts in 2014, and I say you're in a good position to see at least 600 for the foreseeable future. Your largest classes are currently in the lower grades, so you are larger in those younger grades, so you have natural growth just from the advancing of those large young classes. We're projecting 435 students of growth for the fall of 2014, so that's a little more than what you grew this year. The district will likely exceed 23,000 students next year as well. 5-year enrollment growth is 1,621 students to the district, and the district could be at 24,578 in the year 2018. Judson ISD may add over 4,000 students during the next 10 years and would put the district's enrollment at almost 27,000 by the year 2023. Apologize, my voice is kind of going out on me. Any questions?
Okay, Mr. Flores. I'll just do the table.
I think a district this size could be at the mid-30s, 34, 35,000. The caveat to build-outs is your build-outs hit a point and then they trail off, and then they can float back up. The big thing about a build-out, too, is the multifamily. As multifamily ages, then it can cause changes in density as well, because some of those green dots that are green right now, 10 years from now, they can flip and become a subsidized apartment complex and have a higher yield. So the build-out is definitely a trick, but I'd say you could easily grow to 35 to 38,000 students.
And in those areas that
Mhm.
That's a potential. And I've always said that I see the southern end of the district a little more because it's less for, the slower income housing. And, that's what we really gotta look at our growth a lot. We got the numbers here looking at it and it's, that's all I have.
Mr. Salyer.
Thank you very much. I mean, I'm a numbers guy. I like your numbers, but I just, I'm District 1, which is Kitty Hawk North around the Rolling Oaks Mall, and there's a lot of empty land not plotted off out there yet, where the new HEB's going and around Rolling Meadows and up through there, and I think there's going to be a drawl up there. They're putting a new HEB right there at the corner of 1604 and Nacogdoches. Big super, going to be an HEB, big super HEB right there. So, when you build stuff like that, it draws. So I think your numbers are right on. My big fear is that, they're going to go in there and they're going to hit us hard. Of course, the good news up by the JW Marriott, like you said, they're $850,000 houses and they're second homes, golf houses. So we're going to luck out by big houses, good taxes, and no kids. So we're going to do well with that. But the starter homes down in Selma and down in there, that's going to really, and those folks are going to stick around. Those kids are going to get all 12 years at Judson. So thanks for your work.
You're welcome.
Ms. Adair.
Thank you.
The Mustang Valley area, because those are HUD homes with no money down, those homes will probably go faster even than the ones up by our area, the Washington area, they got, because there's no money down.
Mm-hmm.
I know, because people have been calling me that they're looking at homes in Mustang Valley, and what school would my kid go to? I want to. So, I'm in support. The numbers say that we need to start on talk now. We need to start talking about our growth, our numbers, and obviously we're going to need a financial problem.
And I would say we tend to be a little conservative, so these are a conservative forecast. Because of what's gone on with the economy over the last few years, what tends to happen is in a dire economy, we tighten up the ratchet a little bit, and then when it gets roaring again, we're kind of slow to turn it back up again. So, you're welcome.
Mr. Macias.
I think a lot of what I would have expressed has been expressed. I do think that this is a template for our strategic planning going 5-10 years into the future. I will agree with Mr. Flores about what is that all out. And so there's actually a study that I save a lot of things, and I think there was one that was conducted just 3 years ago. And I'd like to actually compare. Did you look at our studies a few years back?
I do. I may have looked at it a couple of years ago, but I do not remember.
I'm just kind of curious on what those projections. I'm always under the impression that the deviation is small, but I'll be interested to see what that report looked like 3 years ago and what it looks like now. Because this looks very thorough. You did a very good representation of what the growth looks like across the district. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Very good, excellent report. I think, I don't want to say it's scary, but at least we're ready to start getting ready for the next bond in a year or two, because now we have this information. When we have more meetings with the community, we'll be able to show, hey, this is what's coming, and we need to start thinking about it now. I don't want to wait till we're overcrowded. Oh, by the way, we need another bond. I think we need to start planning early. And appreciate your report very, very much. And I hope, I'm pretty sure we'll continue to get updates from your
Thank you.
company or whatever. Thank you very
Thank
much,
you.
sir. Mr. Dr. Mack. Oh. Okay, item D has been pulled until March. The counselor is unable to make that report. Is that right, Mr. Macias, on the community, on the report for United Community? Okay. Did you get that, Jackie? Thank you. Mr. Macias, oh, no. E, update on HR internal audit. Mr. Macias.
Yeah, where are we? Dr. Mackey?
We have a RFP. Will repeat that, Mr. Elizondo, where we at on that?
We have an RFP that's out right now. It's due back on March the 3rd. And our goal is to bring it to the board on March the 27th at the regular board meeting so that we can approve who we're going to go with for that particular engagement.
Okay.
On that time, I guess we'll take a look at several vendors, or will there be a ranking? How will that be presented?
If you don't mind, I'm going to let Mr. Ashmore discuss that if he doesn't mind. He's here. You might as well say something.
I'm glad you're feeling better, Mr. Ashmore.
I'm not really feeling better, but I'm as good as I'm going to get today. You know, that's a good question. The plan at this point would be for us to form a committee to review it and evaluate it just as we would any other RFP and bring a recommendation to the board. However, I will say that this is a little bit unusual because it's board initiated, and so whatever direction Dr. Mackey gives us, that's what we'll do.
And I guess I'm under the impression that the board would perhaps interview the pool of people that are qualified and then make a decision on that. Since it is our initial diving into this area, would that be inappropriate? I mean, I guess I can ask.
I wouldn't say that it'd be inappropriate. I think that it's a little difficult to coordinate, but I'm sure that it could be done. And I guess the question is suppose that we get 5 responses back. Is that too many vendors to bring to the board? Would it be better to bring what we view as the top 3? I mean, it gets very tricky. For instance, with the survey firms, there were I think 6 firms. Mm-hmm. It gets kind of cumbersome to manage to kind of bring them all together. That makes for a really long meeting, even with only a 10-minute presentation. So I mean, we're kind of at your beck and call, I guess. Whatever you feel is best.
We want to know.
Well, that's a good question. My impression was that we would interview, but obviously I can hear from my colleagues too on what they think might be better.
Well, I brought this very issue up when we started this process. What was the board's idea of what to do? And now we're here on RFQs, and we still don't know how the board wants to do it.
Well, I want to interview.
I brought this up over and over again, and we got an RFQ out, and our purchasing manager is asking us what we do. Again, we did this the wrong way.
No, we didn't. We interviewed.
Yes, we did.
Now
we're doing this the wrong way. We have no guidelines from this board on how to do it.
We're not inventing something that's never been done before. People and
You're
boards
correct,
interview.
Mr. Mancias. This has been done before, and you give guidance to the people to do it. And this,
You're right, Mr.
this
Sellier.
administration has no guidance. The man's standing right there telling us what he wants us to do.
This is what we're here to do.
We got an RFQ out.
We can give him guidance right now.
Well, I think that's the wrong way to do it. I think it needs to be in writing, and the board needs to sit down and talk about what we want this auditor to do, which we haven't done.
Let me just ask you, do you want to interview or do you want them to rank?
I don't want an internal auditor.
Well, that's probably why you're not being cooperative.
You know?
The thing is, which way?
Well,
it's not a
I'm
question.
not being cooperative. I'm just, you asked me my opinion, and I told
Well,
you
that was
my
not
opinion.
one of the
How's
answers.
that uncooperative?
That was not one of the
How is that
responses.
uncooperative, Mr. Mancias? You asked me a question, and I gave you an answer.
Thank you, Mr. Sellier.
Thank you, Mr. Salinas. I have looked at what other school districts do, and I am supporting this because this is a compromise to hiring a position as authorized by law of an internal auditor. So what I would like to know from the district is when the other school districts hire internal auditor positions, how does the board do that?
Okay, see, we're talking about 2 different things.
But
We're
I
talking
want
about
to use the same principle I don't think that just allowing, not that I don't trust you, Mr. Ashmore, but I don't think just allowing administration to review has the same outlook as this coming from the board, as you previously stated. This is a board requested, and the auditor, the internal auditor person, is a reportable to the board person. So when they hire that person, how do they do that? And I understand it's a difference, but how do they do that?
When a school district hires an individual as an employee, as an internal auditor, it's just no different than like when you hire Dr. Mackey. The job is posted, people apply, the applications are given to the board members look at the applications, come up with a short list, and interview those individuals and decide
So
who
the
they're gonna
board
hire.
interviews the internal auditor.
For an employee, yes,
For an
because
employee.
that's who the education code says.
They're going to report to.
Exactly.
That's what the law says.
In
So in
case
this case,
Let me just finish
it'll be,
and then-
no, wait just a second, because I want you to answer what I really want to know. In this case, this auditor is going to report to the board as well. Now tell me what you're going to tell me.
Mr. Darrell, you said this auditor, but
Or
if it was
company
an
or
auditor,
whatever.
but it's an auditor, internal auditor, and then there's a company. So
We're hiring a company.
you're hiring a company. So
that's
just
going to use a person, right?
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So let's just make this. Why don't we just go ahead and move like this? We're gonna let's do what we'll do an RFP. Everybody that applies, we'll give it to the board president. And y'all figure out how that. That's how we do it. We got that. Yeah, we'll do that.
Because the RFP is already out, and it's going to end. Going to end?
March the 3rd.
Okay. My concern is that we need to do it. We voted on it. Let's just do it and get it done. The money's allocated in this budget year, and let's just get it over with. Let's not prolong this
But June,
anymore. Well, but before it gets to the interview process, you know, and I think that sounds like the standard deal that we do. So I don't have a problem with that. But I have been on this board when we have had a personnel audit before that Mr. Harris had requested. And we wound up with a company that had no knowledge of education. Were you on the board then, Gilbert? Had no knowledge of education in school, and I think that needs to be a part of the criteria. We don't want some company that just audits personnel. We want people that know what we do, Chapter 21 or contractual, whatever. Okay.
Thank you. One thing I want to be clear about is when we get this list from Mr. Salinas, you know, I don't want any board members contacting these vendors first and saying, you know, hey, you know, I mean, it's happened before, huh? That's right. That's right. And okay.
Yes, sir.
Also, well, that's during the bid process. Yes. Now, yeah. Okay. And alluding to what Steve said, and I had said it too also, we do not have any policy for this. And we should, that's the first thing we should have done, was talk about how we're going to handle this as a board. We need board policy. Well, but still, if we're going to go forward with this, you can't be changing it every time, and we do need some sort of policy on this. I mean, this is, you know, they're going to bring in the RFQ, we're going to talk to them, and we may decide, no, we don't want it, they're all over $100,000. We may decide, no, you know? Yeah.
change anything. I want the board to have full autonomy.
Now, I just don't understand why no other districts were contacted that already have this active process to figure out what their policy and processes are. I mean, it sounds like we do everything else when we outreach, but we didn't ask anyone across Bear County?
We did not ask anybody, but I would be surprised if anybody does it this way. I would presume that when we hire our external, this is what I was going to say earlier, when we hire our external auditors, it's an auditing firm. That's the same thing you're going to hire an auditing firm. They're just going to do a little bit different function. Instead of being an external audit, they're going to do an internal audit. The external auditors, we rank the proposals, but they still work for y'all. When they do their report, they're doing it to the board. We don't ask them to come and present to y'all, but they're giving you a report and giving you the opportunity to go ahead and ask any questions that you have for them. That's why they send you all letters saying, do you all have any concerns, anything that we need to know about? That's their communication with the board and giving you the opportunity to give them feedback. If you have any concern about any particular item, that's your opportunity to say, hey, I want you to look at this, or I'm concerned about this, or I've heard about this. That's what the external auditors do. The internal auditor said, I would venture to say, but we can definitely ask if there's any other districts that do this and do it any other way, because I'm thinking that they follow their standard process, but I could be wrong, and we could definitely ask.
Dr. Mackey, is we're not full-time employees, and we don't have staff. I mean, unless you want us to use Jackie, she's the board secretary, Ms. Pettis, and the board tell Ms. Pettis to contact Northside, Northeast.
Mr. Mayor, you do have one staff member.
Okay.
I have never been given any direction. You have one person. All you have to do is tell me, President, tell me what I want, what y'all want. I will take care of it.
Oh, okay. That's no problem.
Yeah. Again, not being confrontational, but what is our instrument to evaluate this person? I brought this up before. How's the process we're going to do this? How are we going to interview this person? What is, just like rating Dr. Mackey, what is our how many points we give each firm or individual for that? Pardon? Where's it in writing? I don't have it here. No, that's for the RFQ to go out. But we're now going to interview these people, right? What's the board's instrument to evaluate the individual person? We have none of this in place, June.
I'm going to go by the same thing that they do when they respond to RFQs and hire like.
So why are we interviewing? If you're saying you're going to go by what the RFQ is, why are we even interviewing? You just take the top one then. But now we're saying we want to interview. Why are we? You want to sit this person down or this firm down and interview them?
Because they interview. Don't you interview Ms. Ashmore when you get our?
It depends on the circumstances. So,
That's
for
what
example, with the employee engagement survey, we did not conduct any interviews other than some clarification questions to make sure that we were understanding their proposal properly. But normally, we don't do a lot of interviews for vendors. If we feel that their references check out and they've done valuable work for someone else, we usually take that at face value. Now, granted, if we were going to be spending a large amount of money, then, or we had doubts, then we'd bring them in. So, for example, we have some other procurement activity here in the future. We're going to be bringing vendors in to do presentations to a group of people to make sure that we're looking at every angle of it. But it just depends on the circumstances.
The auditor that you use for this project, did y'all answer that?
No, ma'am.
You just went by what they wrote?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you had
And their references, and their licensing and potential claims.
So are we going to interview or not? If we're going to interview on top of what purchasing does in a rating, what's our interview instrument? Yeah, but you're saying we're going to interview Mr. Mencius.
And I'm willing to contact the districts personally to find out.
I'm
what
just
the deal
saying
is.
we're going at this blind again.
Well, let's
We're
pull
saying,
together
we're
and
saying we're going
not
to
be
take
blind.
what the RV, and then you want to interview. My question is, what do we use as the interview device?
We're going to get with Dr. Mackey, and we're going to come up with one, and it'll be sent to you by email.
And who picks that? Who picks that
Nobody's
device?
going to pick it. We're going to all talk
Okay.
to Dr. Mackey, and then we'll vote on it.
But it's not Dr. Mackey, it's the board president.
Again, I wasn't part of the interview process for the superintendent. Gilbert and Ms. Adair were. So when you interviewed all these various superintendents, what questionnaires did you use, or what instruments?
I've
or
never
criteria?
interviewed a superintendent.
No, I'm talking Mr. Flores and Ms. Adair. And so were there instruments? That's
We came up with a
Yeah.
set of questions.
that's on par for doing an interview.
Good deal. Oh, yeah, that'll be good. All right. Thank you, Mr. Flores.
You finished, Mr. Sellier? Thank you, sir. Mr. Ashmore.
Almost got away.
No, what I was going to say, you're doing the RFQ or whatever. Once you, and your committee or whatever, say, oh, by the way, these are the top 3 that we feel are qualified for the board to decide which one do they really want to talk to. I don't think we need to bring all 3 people in here, I mean the companies or whatever, and interview them. Once we look at the qualifications that you all have recommended to the board, we can sit down in a special meeting and say, okay, this company, this and this, they've done audits in this school district or whatever, and then we can take it from there. We can decide, okay, I believe this is the one that we want to bring in to interview. I don't think the board needs to get all 3 recommendations, the highest 3 or whatever. I would prefer that you do that. Maybe nobody will apply. I don't know. But let's say you get 4 or 5. Come with the top 3 or the top 2, if only 2, whatever, and then we can take it from there.
I'm happy to do whatever I'm directed to do, but
Yeah.
I've got 2 different things
Well,
right now.
No,
one is to
that's
give,
what I would like
Oh,
to
I
do.
see.
I don't think we need to start. That's not our. I don't think that's our job to be interviewing auditors. Okay, just whatever you all recommend, then we can go ahead and look at the recommendations, look at the companies, and then we can set up a special meeting to bring in the company we feel would be the best qualified. And once we do that, then at that time, you say, okay, I believe this is what you do, and this is what we would like to look for you to look for.
President,
Yes, sir.
That right there sounds, is good. If that's what the other board desire to do, but I would like, to go back to, not that the district staff do this, but meet with either you or Mr. Flores and put this in y'all's hand, and then y'all could look at what we're doing, like 2 board members, and so that I don't want, after the audit come back, would somebody say, well, the administration has something to do with this. I want to put it in someone else's hands. I want someone else to do it.
The board needs to pick leadership.
Yeah, because I don't.
Yeah.
When does this RFQ close?
The 3rd, March the 3rd.
Okay, how many have we had so far? Any bites turning anything?
Well, it's typically not until March the 2nd will you start seeing anything.
Figure the most will probably be maybe 4, maybe 5.
I notified over 50 companies.
Okay,
And so, but I would say that probably somewhere between 5 to 7, you're right.
But
Yep.
Salinas, okay.
And then, you know, we can look at it and say, hey, you know, we want to talk to these folks.
In the meantime, I think we should come up with the questions like we do on the superintendent's interview, so that we ask, everybody has to be asked the same question. It has to be fair, and we don't call superintendents when they are interviewing, so we're not going to call them.
yeah, and
Don't worry about
and
nothing.
Mr.
Don't take care of it.
and Mr. Flores is going to be getting information from the yeah, from yes, message board or whatever. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. F, raise increase is 3%. Mr. Macias.
Just had a question for Dr. Mackey. I know we approved the increase for teacher salaries or employees. What's the timeline to issue contracts? I think I remember that discussion centering around giving.
Ms. Howard, when we start issuing contracts?
Contract recommendations for all staff except administration will be in March.
Okay. So in March?
For approval.
With
The 27th.
And the reason why I'm asking and why I put the agenda item as a 3% is the board is still discussed possibly increasing the salary, looking at it again while we're doing our budget discussions. And so if we indicate, and this is hypothetical, say we come back and we want to actually add more to it, does that impact the contracts? The contracts need to be re-signed?
No, sir, you're not approving salaries in the contract process. You're only approving employment.
So I just want to be clear about that. Okay.
Okay.
Mr. David.
Mr. Dare.
I'm sorry, I read raise increase, and I thought that's what this question was. So, I have a question on this. Dr. Mackey, we voted to do this 3%.
Yes.
And then we had the little language changes that we did, and so,
What language
I
changed?
became thoroughly confused that
What
night.
language changed?
Remember we had to put in the change about the midpoint, something, something, something?
Did we give a copy of all this to the board? Yeah, I know, but
Right.
you corrected, and we gave a copy to the board of all.
But here's what I need to know. How and when is this going to be calculated? Because all you lovely employees are calling me saying, how much am I getting? What does this mean?
Yeah, Ms. Howard.
So how is this calculated, Ms. Howard?
Well, we did release, actually the superintendent did formally communicate to all the staff a summary of the approved increases. So as follows, it goes. Anybody on a pay scale, teacher, nurse, librarian, counselor, specialist, received an increase, a flat rate increase of $1,500 as part of their annual step for next year.
So everybody got $1,500.
On those scales.
Yes, ma'am. Teacher, nurse, librarian, counselor.
And specialists.
And special. Okay.
In addition to that, professional educators and professional operations received a midpoint increase of 3% and an increase of 3%. Okay, so basically we take the midpoint of the salary range or pay grade that the individual position is in, and we increase the midpoint by 3%. And so we increase low, mid, max by that amount. And then that amount, 3% of that new midpoint is the increase amount added to the daily rate of the professional educator or professional operations employee.
What happens if the employee is not at the midpoint?
They still get 3% of the midpoint added to their current daily rate.
So, but is the 3% calculated on the current 3%, on the current midpoint, or the new, which one?
On the new midpoint. After the...
So they're not at midpoint, we raise the midpoint, but they don't get raised to the midpoint, and they get 3%. Do you understand how that's confusing to us people out here?
No.
Because before we gave, me personally, I like flat rate pay raises. Give everybody $1,500 and I'm good. So give me a person, not a person, give me a position and give me a salary. Just make one up.
Well, I'm not going to make one up. I'll actually pull one up.
You
from
give me
the
a real one.
projection.
Okay, I have my pen out.
Okay, so for example, if we take a look at a professional educator position, let me just get one open here.
Okay. And I apologize to my colleagues that got this, because I didn't get it.
My apologies, we're
It's okay.
pulling up data here.
Ms. Perez, can we get a copy of that from Ms. Howard tomorrow and give them another copy of all of this?
They were given it in their pocket.
I got a copy of the language. It doesn't
Well,
tell me how the calculation's done.
It actually did. I provided a printed copy to every board member last Friday as part of the packet that shows the calculations. But for example, let's take a professional educator position of social worker.
Okay.
Okay. And currently the social worker is in pay grade 2, which
Okay.
this year the low is $212.15. The mid is $265.19.
Okay.
And the high is $318.23.
Okay.
Okay. So what we do is for next year, we take the low, mid, and high, and we take that mid range and we multiply that by 3%.
Okay.
Okay. Now that amount comes out to be $7.96. So we add $7.96 to each the low, the mid, and the high for the daily rate.
Okay.
Okay. Then we take 3% of that new midpoint, which comes out to be a total of $8.19, and we add that to the current daily rate of that employee, no matter where they're at on the range, low, mid, high, or in between.
So that ensures that every employee is going to get a 3% increase regardless of where they are on the midpoint.
Correct, ma'am.
3% based on the midpoint.
Based on the new midpoint. It's not a 3% raise of their current salary. It's just the midpoint based on the 3% of the midpoint added to their current salary.
So what ends up happening, if you're below the midpoint, you're going to get a higher percentage increase. If you're at the midpoint, you're going to get exactly 3%. And if you're above the midpoint, you're going to get a lower percentage increase.
Okay.
The low people get a higher dollar amount than the upper part. The people at the low standard get a more dollar amount raise than the people at the higher under the actual salary. So the dollar amount, the lower people get $7, the midpoint gets $7, the people at the higher amount
That's correct.
get $7. So the lower end
Get the
of
high.
the scale actually made more money percentage-wise
On the increase.
on their increase.
Okay.
So actually, you're increasing the lower salaries by a bigger percentage than the top salaries in the raw cash.
Okay, so there's only one more question to that. So, new employees that we're hiring are going to be calculated based on the new midpoint.
No.
What are we going to do? Because once we voted on, this is our compensation plan, that's what I mean, new employees. I'm not talking about new employees now. I'm talking about after we vote on the compensation plan and the budget, our midpoint is now changed, and we hire someone in. Will those employees make more money because they're being calculated at the higher midpoint?
No, ma'am,
Okay.
because we don't calculate incoming employee salaries. The way we calculate them is based on their years of experience. And so that formula doesn't change no matter which compensation plan
But
you're
you-
working from.
But you'll look at their years of experience, and then you'll take that and do something with the midpoint, right?
No, we don't do anything with the midpoint. It's already been set. So
Right.
we base
so
them.
let's say the midpoint is $50, okay, and it was $40. So the new person coming in has the same year's experience as this person that is already here and the new person, but now there's a higher midpoint.
Mhm.
These calculations will not cause someone being hired after this pay scale to make more money than our employees that we already have?
Nope, it's to make the same amount.
That's all I want to know.
If they got, but they have to say, they have the same amount of years experience, they get
Same
the
amount
same.
of years.
They get the same.
So same amount of years, and they're coming in, and we've got a higher midpoint now. They're not going to make more money than the people that were already
no,
here. They got theirs calculated. Because we had that problem in the past.
Yeah, yeah. It's happened. Mr. Adair, it's happened. I've seen a lot of it, and and as I see it, it's come to me, I've been correcting that stuff. I've been adjusting and correcting that because it is a lot of inequality in that right there. So we've adjusted it because we got a system in place on the year's experience, how we do it for everybody.
I would also like to say that under Dr. Mackey's direction, we have for now 2 years had an established procedure on how we calculate salaries so that there is no more inequity.
Yeah, we've had it.
Okay, yeah, I'm not concerned with the inequity just based on, hearings and time, but more of that our employees that have been here and that are loyal don't receive a lower salary when we raise the midpoint to someone coming.
No.
You assured me, and Ms. Elizondo assured me.
No.
Dr. Mackey
No,
assured
we can show you exactly how we, if you come by, we can show you exactly how we calculate it. No matter who comes in, it's the same.
All right.
This is not Judson's philosophy or plan.
No.
TASB, it's
We
the
talked about
TASB
that.
model, and
That's where we took it from.
the majority of the districts in the state use it.
It's weird.
Yes.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Macias, thank you for putting that on.
Thank you. G, update the local policy, BP local administrative regulations, first reading. And all of these have been posted, Jackie? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Salinas, I don't have any changes tonight, but I would say that according to our policy, the board has not been reviewing the administrative regulations on an annual basis according to policy.
We just did it, ma'am, in
No.
January.
No, we did
Yes,
not.
ma'am.
Administrative regulations. We don't approve administrative regulations. Our policy says that the board reviews them, and we have not.
Well, TASB was here and they didn't review that?
No, sir. Those are our board policies. Administrative regulations are policies that the superintendent puts in place, and the board does not approve them, but the board is supposed to review them.
Okay, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get a copy of that, right?
This is first reading.
Oh, it's in there, okay.
Yeah, this is just this one, but you have more administrative regulations. I'm saying for the overall administrative regulations.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. We can do that. Ms. Barra, we'll put all of it in there.
Oh, for the program review?
Yeah.
Okay, good idea, Mr. Flores. Thank you, sir. H, update to local policy, purchasing and acquisition, first reading. I, update to local policy, DCB local, employment practices, term contracts, first reading. J, update to local policy, DCD local employment practices, at-will employment, first reading.
Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am.
I would just like to say, Superintendent, on all of these from G through J, if there is a policy change that you're requesting, if you would let us know what it is, unless it's something that's just automatically. No, I know, but I mean, is there something like that you want us to know about it? Otherwise, we're just going to just scan those little colors and.
What TASB gave us.
So these are all TASB. This is nothing you've decided to change. Okay.
Okay, K, update on statement of impact amendment.
Oh, I read them all.
I didn't put anything in there.
Okay. What's the statement of impact?
It's those campuses that
Or that apply to be charter schools?
charter school, like
Oh, we
Harmony
do them all the
schools.
time.
Yeah, we do
Okay.
it all the time.
I'm good with that.
Okay, L, update on advisory committees. Ms. Adair,
We know that tomorrow is the gala.
Gala, okay,
Please be at the
good.
gala, Judson Education
Don't forget,
Foundation.
board members, tomorrow. And it's not Western days, okay?
Gentlemen
Western
down.
Day for the employees only tomorrow during the day.
Gentlemen down.
Thank you, Dr. Mackey, for doing that. Mr. Macias?
No.
Okay. Mr. Flores?
The long range and curriculum committee met and had a good presentation made by Mr. Braza on charter, and I know that we'll be bringing that back on. We plan another meeting, and hopefully have more people there to hear that. Mr. Robinson gave us a good presentation as to what's going on curriculum-wise. This time we really don't have anything to bring to the board.
Okay. Mr. Salyer? Oh,
That's good.
okay. Thank you, sir. M, update on board training, conferences, events, and consider future agenda item requests by board members. We have the legal update next week. I will be in Austin for that. I don't know who's going to Corpus Governance. Do you have to be there, Mr. Flores? Oh, okay. I thought Dasby had to be there, the board, but you don't have to. Okay, I believe Mr. LaFoyle will be there. Ms. Williams said she would not be able to attend. We look at the calendar. I think I'm going to be, hopefully, I think we have to do a special board meeting to finish some of these things that we have not been able, we tabled some of these things, and I think on the board operating procedures, it says that in March, we should do a self-evaluation, and maybe we can discuss that during the special board meeting, and I'll give you some dates in a minute. And Jackie and I are working on that, trying to get that, there's an evaluation, it's called a self-board evaluation, not to be graded by anybody, but whenever we meet, we'll just go over each item. You say, hey, this is where I feel I'm strong, this is where I feel I'm weak, this is where I feel we need to work more, or whatever. So hopefully I'll have that. The other one, let's see, the dates that are possible, and I checked with Dr. Mackey. It's only next Monday or Tuesday, the 24th or the 25th. That's in February. In March, we don't have too much room, except March the 3rd or the 4th. The week of the 17th, okay? March 17th, is that the one you're talking about, sir? Okay, either we have a program review on the 20th. Well, we could do it at Tuesday the 18th. Sir, is your calendar okay on the 18th? Okay. Dr. Mackey is open on the 18th. Okay.
Why are we putting it off so long? Why can't we just do Tuesday?
Yeah, well, spring break is gone.
I thought you said February the 24th or the 25th.
That would be next week, ma'am.
Yeah, I'd rather just get it over. I can do Tuesday the 25th.
How's the 24th? Okay, how about Mr. Macias, Dr. Mackey, 24th? Monday. Jackie? Are we okay in the 24th, or? Oh, wait a minute, that would be Friday. We have to post it by Friday, man? Huh? Oh, tomorrow, wait a minute, see, that's too early.
Let's see what I'm going to post it tomorrow.
We post it tomorrow?
Post it tomorrow. You post it tomorrow.
Okay, so we'll put some of the items that were left out, and we'll do the board, under board operating procedure is the board self-evaluation. Okay, and Dr. Mackey, if something else comes up. It's 6 o'clock, okay? Okay, special board meeting for the 24th. And contact Ms. Williams and Mr. LaFleur. Okay, special board meeting, and then I'll see what other item we need to put there. As far as, I'm going to request for March 27th special board meeting, regular board meeting. I want to put there the superintendent's contract. As far as we're going to be doing a superintendent, we're going to be talking about a possible rate for the superintendent. No, sir, regular 27th. On the 27th is a regular board meeting. Yes, from the 20th to the 27th. And anybody else has any agenda items? If not? Yes, sir. Yes. I think I thought we had one for just the right man? Board ethics. Okay. Yeah. Just like the operating procedures. We can add that to the operating procedures. I think that would be great. Oh, but that's sent by the auditors. Right. We don't, the district doesn't send it. That's, yes ma'am. I signed it every year. Yeah, that's the one we get.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But wait a minute, excuse me. No, but I'm saying, since I've been on the board, I have signed one every year, but it's sent by a special auditor.
It's a different one.
We're supposed to do a disclosure, and you're supposed to.
Huh? Get that form. Oh, that's fine with me. I'll guarantee you. I have plenty of time to be sending out forms. I'll just tell the secretary, and she's very good at that. Thank you. Yes. Yes.
I just wanted to mention on events future, my dad is very ill, and so I have signed up for his conferences, and if I happen to not be here.
Yes. Well, that's understandable.
Well, you know, it's been asking about why I haven't been attending the training. So my dad's ill, and I just sign up and then I'm okay.
That's, and Mr. LaFoyle has some family also that he might have to be leaving out of state. The other one is tomorrow at noon. The Bexar County Coalition will have a luncheon, and I believe Mayor Castro wants to talk to the coalition board members. So I'm going to be there. Mr. Macias said he's going to make it. Anybody else? You're going to be there? Not you can tomorrow? Can you? Okay. Can you give me a ride, ma'am? Oh, are you going, Dr. Mackey, tomorrow for lunch? It's the Pearl. So maybe we'll get together. I can. Oh, okay. Okay. Judson boys? Who did they play? Oh, ooh, that's a good score. Thank you. Okay, anything else? That's what I'm going to read right now, man. We will be going into closed session. The board will now adjourn into closed session pursuant to the following sections of the Texas Open Meetings Act. 551.074, discussing personnel. We adjourn to the executive session. From closed session at 10:56. No vote or any action was taken while behind closed doors. We need a motion? Okay, we had a motion. Okay, all those in favor of the personnel report signifying by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed likewise. Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.